For those of you who are joining us, we are going to be discussing our previous RP session that took place on Saturday, and all of the drama that happened. I feel like, I guess it was a pretty jammed packed start to finish with that episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a pretty dramatic episode. It wasn't. Go ahead.
It's not often we go into overtime, because normally we would actually did put the 6-hour time limit, and at that point we just couldn't.
Yeah, we were like, we have to finish this. We have to finish what we started. All right. Well, where shall we start?
I actually have a question for you, Jenna. As the storyteller, everything that happened during the episode, did it catch you off guard at all, or did it go kind of what you expected?
The funny thing is, for this particular session, I didn't have a lot planned, which I talked to you guys previously about. I had like things that I wanted to get, like I assumed that like I knew you guys were gonna follow up with Lindsay and like little things like that. I assumed that eventually you guys might in this episode go meet the Galeo sisters, so I had to like kind of like mentally prepared for that. I had just like mentally prepared for like possible things that you guys would do, but that was about it. So everything that really happened, and I'm not gonna lie, okay, I'm just gonna spoiler alert for you guys. The person that showed up at the barn, that was just a spur of the moment decision for me, and I was like, I'm going to throw this in there and see what happens and see where it leads. Like, I knew that I wanted to do something like this at some point, like, 'cause there's like this whole mystery behind who this person is, and like, are they watching you, and like this and that and whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna throw this little bit in there and see kind of what they do with it. And so yeah, that was literally a moment's decision that I was like, I'm gonna see what happens while they're chilling outside this barn, because I didn't know how long you guys would be at the barn. I didn't know like what you guys would be doing, so I was like, this is kind of a good little opportunity to throw this in there and see like how they react to it. So yeah, that was just like completely spur of the moment. So yeah, I mean, I guess in a way it did in a way catch me off guard. Like, I wasn't really prepared for anything in particular to happen, you know what I mean? So it made it fun for me because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm like making decisions as I go, which I just decided to do in that moment. So making cookies for other people. I'm not making cookies for anybody, including myself, sadly. No cookies for me. But yeah, I had a few notes and that was it. But basically everything that happened was just me going with whatever you guys were doing and reacting to the things that you guys were doing and creating situations that would open doors to things that we can do later. You know what I mean? Yeah, my cat's pretty great. My tuker pooker.
He has a crazy tail today. What the hell is that?
I don't know. He's upset. He's been like annoyed all morning. This morning when I like stretched my feet out, he like bit my feet and I was like,
oh wow,
excuse me? So that's kind of...
It's one of those days for Took.
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's how it's been all day for him. He's not happy. But what about you guys? Were you guys, I'm sure you guys were probably on the edge of your seat a lot more than I guess I was, per se.
Definitely.
Yeah, there was some crazy things that got thrown in there.
Yeah.
I think that it's hilarious that Alejandro storms off and then like all hell breaks loose. Like, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Like, I knew. I had a feeling that would happen too. I was like, see this bitch like leaving and everything happens. And sure enough,
Yep.
that's what happened.
Exactly what happened.
Oh boy.
Which I think we'll probably get to that because I do have a few things to say in regards to Alejandro's storming off. But when the whole shadow figure person showed up at the barn, did you just assume that this was like the person that embraced Eden? Like, what were you guys thinking in that moment?
I honestly didn't think it was gonna be the person that embraced me because, like, I mean, it's still like one person. If it was more than one and whatever, like, it might have made sense, but maybe, you know, we don't know who the fuck this person is and how they're working. Like, apparently they're working with the Second Inquisition or some shit. Who the fuck knows? So, like, you know, there's like a bunch of shit that got thrown at us this past episode, and it's like, okay, well, maybe he has all the connects. Maybe he's working with other, like, you know, kindred or like stuff like that from the outside. Maybe it's like a whole organization where the Second Inquisition has some insider vampires, and that was somebody else that they sent over there because they heard that we're over there just to snoop around and, like, you know, keep an eye on us or some shit. Like, that's what I thought. I thought it was just like somebody maybe associated to that person,
but not
especially
them
if they ran
themselves.
away.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's getting more mysterious because apparently they're focused on you. They want you for something.
All we want is the girl.
Virgin Mary.
With that, a thought struck me this morning, actually.
What?
Well, seeing how everything that happened last night. Well, I say last night on Saturday night.
Feels like last
Oh
night.
no, Jess, that's what I'm saying, Jess. Like, I think they're all connected. Maybe they're not, but I think the Second Inquisition, the religious group or whatever, I think they might be connected.
Quick, somebody call Dan Brown to make a book out of this shit. No, but I actually was when I woke up, just thinking about this past Saturday. Our characters have one problem right now that I didn't realize at the time.
What?
They're tunnel visioning.
They're tunnel visioning? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Why am I saying that? Because they are very like... a lot of them had just made up their mind that is Eden thereafter. However, they were with a couple of other powerful people. They were all females. He never specified who he was actually after, so our characters, they jumped to the conclusion that, okay, it's Eden. But the twist could be, it could be someone else.
They could be looking for the sisters, but it's still like they know that property is two sisters, so he would have probably used "we want the sisters" or something like that.
I mean, at this point, it's pretty much down to storyteller's control, right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's how I read it, because like, obviously, like, there's three women there. There's the proprietors of the estate, the two sisters, and then there's me, the guest that has been brought there for a reason, because this whole thing is happening. So like, how I analyze it, because I thought about it too, Memzi. Like, you're not saying something that I didn't think about. I did think about that, but in my opinion, if they knew that was a sister's estate, they would have said, like, I want one of the sisters, or I want, like, the sisters or whatever, not the girl, you know? it's not, I'm not trying to
Mhm.
flex here because everybody wants my ass, you know. Like, I'd rather not have these problems as a character, but you know.
Yeah. And I think too, just from I'm sure the impression that you got from how everything was handled, this isn't something that happens very often at this particular location. So it's not like the Galeo sisters are frequently in danger. You know what I mean? It's like this was a very unusual situation that happened to happen as soon as Eden was on their property, which you can speculate what you want about that, but it does look a little weird that as soon as this new vampire shows up at my property, I've got people breaking in my gate, you know, and like...
Okay, so we got the solution. Kill Eden and everything's back to normal. Gotcha.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
You do some good ass ASMR. Oh, thanks.
And speaking of the sisters, Ashley was exactly what I expected. Penelope
Oh.
took me by surprise, though.
Yeah, you'll learn more about why Penelope is the way that she is as time
Oh
goes
yeah,
on.
I'm super curious. I'm
Yeah.
very curious, but like, I'm playing the long game with Penelope.
It's gonna be a long game because she's very closed off, as you can see, and
That's exactly why I went over, talked about the paintings
showed some
for a
interest.
second, and then I left. I didn't wait for her to leave. I left so
Yeah.
that she doesn't feel any type of pressure
Yeah.
from me at all.
Yeah, she's an interesting character,
Galaxy brain.
and both of them, like, I wanted them to be polar opposite so that there was like this dynamic between them of like, it doesn't even really make sense that they would be close because like they're so different. But they are like incredibly close, which you'll learn more too about in character. But yeah, I'm glad that Ashley lived up to what you had imagined her to be. She's a handful, but she loves it. She lives for it. And like, as you can see, how everybody was reacting to her, like, they don't care. Like, well, okay, I should say other clans probably care, but like her own people, they don't care that she's like that, because in a way she's like a celebrity to them, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, she is like the person you want to be in with. So even if they didn't like how uppity she was, they wouldn't like make that known, because getting on her bad side would be bad for them. Right. And I think I mentioned this in our like first podcast. I don't remember if I did, whenever I was like introducing the different clans and stuff.
Probably the first one, yeah.
But their particular clan is really exclusive. Like, if you are a Toreador and you want to live in New Orleans, like, you basically have to get permission from them, and like, it's a whole process. Like, and it's like, basically, if they don't like you, too bad, so sad. And I think you're probably gathering if Ashley doesn't like you. Penelope probably doesn't give a fuck, but Ashley is definitely running the
Has
show.
the last word on who is coming in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, all of the people that were there, for the most part, I would say that probably that particular party, that was just like their inner circle people who they're all like really good friends with. So those are going to be the people that actually really like Ashley and Penelope, and they're not like faking it just to like not get on their bad side. Because I'm sure there even are like other clans and things that just kind of like put up with them because they don't want to deal with the backlash of Ashley and getting on her bad side. So yeah, she's funny. I like Ashley.
Yeah, I like Ashley.
She's gonna be interesting character to be around all of you guys, because soon as she, like, I'm excited for like Alejandro to mouth off to Ashley, because that's gonna make things really start to get interesting, because he didn't say anything. Like, he didn't really do anything in that party. So
He didn't. He just observed, and he wanted pretty much to shoot himself at that point.
and he wanted to go chill in the room with Penelope, and she's like,
yeah, he was like, at that point, he's like, oh, someone normal. And then like, no, this at that point it was like he was just in a place that was completely out of his
comfort
nature.
zone. Yeah.
It wasn't like slightly off his comfort zone. It was like
A whole lot.
y'all motherfuckers,
Incredibly.
y'all motherfuckers, get the fuck away from me. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go and play Mortal Kombat. You guys have fun in your party thing. No.
And yeah, Jess, I'm sure that eventually there'll be situations that you'll be able to see their bad side. It didn't really need to happen in this particular case. And as you saw how like the security kind of handled it, is their like priority was getting them away. So that is probably how they handle a lot of situations. If they know there's like some type of threat, they more so just leave than like fight. They're not like big fighters per se. It doesn't really match their characters to be like that, but I'm sure they'll be eventually.
I mean, yeah, if somebody confronts them, they're still like powerful vampires.
Yeah,
They have like something up their sleeve to,
Yeah, of course.
turn
So
things around. Toreadors get, a little bit of like the short end of the stick because they're so like snobby and like they have the stereotype of like being like, all about parties and social gatherings and gossip and la-di-da. But like honestly, like a good build Toreador is pretty good, like vampire in general. Like
they can hold their
like,
own.
Yeah, I would say so. Like
the Mack truck.
hello,
Like the Mack truck. Yeah, exactly. They can get shit done if they need to get it done. And I think one thing that's going to be really interesting is depending on how long Colette sticks around, because she technically is supposed to be like a temporary character that's a part of the coterie, which I still haven't decided, because I actually really like the dynamic that Colette brings, and Ronaldo. I don't know if I'll keep both of them, just because for me it's hard to do that, but I might eventually pick one.
Depending on what we're doing.
True.
Like, you can assign one of the two to us.
True. That would probably work too. But
that's how I was doing it, like in my RP, like when I was storytelling, I would just be like, okay, I think
this person's coming to help you.
NPC would be more useful in a generic sense, but like you, like I was doing very much the same thing where like, they were there, the NPCs were there and available, but I was waiting for the players to act.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I even though with all the knowledge that my NPCs could have had, like I never interjected unless I was asked.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny to play a character like Ronaldo, who's 300 years old, very knowledgeable, like, and he's not just knowledgeable, like he is smart. He, like, you guys haven't even really dived into his backstory, but he is a smart person, like just in general, like his intelligence is really high, and he's 300 years old. So it's like he very much could be utilized a lot more than he's utilized, like just standing there, fire bullets. Like, but I do that so that you guys have the opportunity to figure things out on your own without me like leading every decision. You know what I mean? Because that's not fun, especially when I know like what's coming next. Like I don't want to influence anything you're doing. So,
yeah, Ronaldo basically just got used as a security blanket, so I didn't have to deal with all the crazy people in the party.
Basically. I think it's so funny that the entire time he's just like, they were fire bullets. Like, he was just like shocked. He was just...
He was so traumatized.
He was useless that entire time.
So
He didn't do anything
useless.
helpful. Jenna's bud. Yeah, that's my bot's name. That's my buddy. Helps me out, you know?
I'm gonna go BRB.
Okay.
Because I need to go to the bathroom because I literally got off stream, jumped straight here. And
Okay, no problem. You're good. So what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, I think that eventually when it comes to like Ronaldo and Colette, right now I am leaning more towards probably keeping Colette as like a more permanent person that's around. For several different reasons. But I think that she kind of fits in with the group a little bit better too than Ronaldo does. Even though Ronaldo is, you know, incredibly useful to have around, but it is still nice. Oh, hey, what's up? I actually don't know how to say your name. Gallant? What's up? This is for, oh, let me see if my shout out thing works, because last time it was broken. Fuck you, bot. Okay, well, everybody go follow Gallant Geek, if I'm saying that correctly. They're the ones that I told you about that was doing the campaign. I think I shared it with you guys.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Welcome.
That's cool.
We're chatting about our previous episode that was on Saturday. How are you doing today? He does other stuff, like he's been playing what's that game? Diablo 3.
Oh,
I lurk I
that's a
lurk in your
classic
stream
right
like
there.
all the time. I just don't talk that much. But I have usually when you're live, I have your stream up chilling. I surprisingly lurk in more streams than I talk in. Like, I've been following people for like years and I've never talked in their stream like ever.
Yeah, I have half of the streamers I follow. I also don't interact. I just lurk.
There'll be some times where I might like say a few things, but I don't talk a lot in most people's streams. But anywho, what do you guys think about like Colette and Ronaldo, and if you could choose, like, would you want both of them to stay, one of them, neither of them? Like, how are you guys feeling about that like dynamic that they bring to the group?
I like it. I love it.
Same. Ronaldo's definitely my favorite though.
I love Ronaldo. And Ronaldo, if he does like fall off as like a permanent member, so to speak, of the coterie, then he'll still be around. Trust me. Like, he'll still pop in because I actually really like him too. He's like one of my favorites. He's so like cute and useless.
I love him. I love how like contradictory he is, because like I was like, okay, like he's gonna do some like voodoo shit, like turn his blood into like some poisonous like thing and like squirt it at the guy, and he was just like
fire bullets.
And I'm like, dude, you probably have all your like disciplines maxed out, bitch. Like, holy
He's
shit.
so powerful.
Do some domination or some stuff. Like, are you kidding me right now?
But then here comes
Right.
Eden. Don't worry, Ronaldo. I got this. Ronaldo's just like, okay. Yeah, leave it to the 2-day-old vampire. Good job. You got it. I'm proud of you. Oh my god. Like, I literally had a mental image of that like happening in my mind.
Me too. And it was just like, I was like, should I just do it? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm a fucking I'm a vampire. Like, the
Was
max
amazing.
I can get is like, if anything goes wrong, you know, and like Jenna makes me like do a roll for like hit for myself, it's still like not even superficial, because it's not a slash, it's just like a concussion,
Impact.
whatever.
Yeah.
I could probably like super easily like absorb it anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. Like, I don't give a fuck if she breaks up like a few ribs while like she smashes into this guy. Whatever. It is what it is. We're doing this.
I didn't even really feel like it was that necessary because I did also know that though both of them were human. So I was like, this is gonna fucking kill.
Yeah, no, but like, you know,
probably
I didn't know
both
that
of them.
information. Yeah,
Right.
I didn't know that information. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, if he's a vampire,
There
and
could
he's
be
giving me
like
some
a
sort of resistance,
right,
you
right.
know, like I could still like absorb the
It wouldn't
hit
have hurt
and-
you too bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. At least like try to knock out the gun, you know, like that was
Right,
my first
right.
thought. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything complicated. I'm just gonna slam into this guy.
Right?
This is the only thing I can do. Also, I wanted to ask you, as we're here, Jenna, and this is something I've been thinking, right? I'm like, okay, I didn't know how, like, the whole, I'm kind of just feeling out the character, right? Like, I have, you know, like, my idea of who she is, and, like, every day I kind of, like, add few bits and pieces to, like, add extra flavor to like not justify but like explain what's going on. And I was like, well, okay, like she's a very eager person. Eden is very eager to learn and like she's very curious, and like that's probably why she went into performing and acting, because you can experience so much. So like she loves doing that shit, right? So like she's probably like in the phase where like, even because like, you know, she found out that she's kind of badass, and then she got reiterated that she's a badass, so like
Yeah.
she might be in that high phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she would want to learn how to like do combat. So I wanted to know how, like, should we do this? Like, should I like just tell you offline, like, hey, like, you know, during the night, every night, like she'll be like training for like an hour or something.
Yeah, we could do something so that you don't have to necessarily RP it out every time.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to, like, if there's somebody that you want to like have training her, then you can just tell me like, oh, she's meeting with like this particular person. Obviously, she doesn't know that many people, but I think that a good resource for her would be actually Colette, like,
yeah, exactly,
to talk to about that.
Yeah.
So
I wanna do melee because like she has the super speed, so melee would be perfect because I have one action and then I can like do the melee action.
yeah. So
like,
if
I
you
would do a
want to
double
just
sword or something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be fine to just say like, you know, every night or, you know, whatever, they try to make time to have like some training type session type thing.
Yeah.
I think that's fine to do, and just have it kind of set up like that, and she'll slowly begin to kind of learn things over time.
Exactly. So that like, you know, whenever like at the end of the month, like you give us the XP, like I'm just gonna immediately put it there. You know what I mean? And it's justifiable. Like she's actually learning a skill.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's totally fine to do it that way.
Because like, again, for like investigation, for example, like Sparta, it would make sense for you to maybe like use those XP that we're gonna get to put in investigation, for example.
Oh, I had already planned on it, especially after that first
but it
episode.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're actively doing it, you're learning, you're like, there's Alejandro there that has been a detective in his like real human life, so like, you know, like he's picking all these things and it makes sense,
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
it wouldn't make sense for you to get crafting, you know, like
Exactly.
Yeah.
when were you crafting?
What were you doing?
crafting?
Yeah, like
Exactly.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, you guys have actually been doing quite a lot of investigating, which I don't think you were necessarily expecting that to happen. So it would make sense, like she's saying, too. And that's one thing, I guess one word of advice is when at the end of the month, when you guys do get that experience, to really sit and think about what was your character doing throughout this month that would make sense to put a point You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that area.
100%.
Like she said, it
100%.
wouldn't make sense for you to put it in crafting or something like that. Then you're like,
Yeah.
you know, like what was my character
for
like taking
example, it
sewing
would
breaks
make
and
more
like
sense if you guys get more involved with the society to put etiquette.
right.
Like, you know, it just like it's you know, in a situation like you can be tossed in and you're like, okay, you gotta adapt to the situation. Etiquette, that's what
True.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like how well you can blend in and like vibe with the place, you know? And like we're kind of gonna have to be forced doing that. Thankfully, my character already has that because she's been in the eye of the public. So obviously, like I started her with having etiquette already and awareness and insight because she
Right.
needs to be able to read the room and be aware of her surroundings and know how to behave herself in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
you know.
so far, me and Alejandro both ran the first chance we got. I ran to the garden to hide with Ronaldo.
He did not adapt very well to that situation.
No.
That is
No.
for sure.
No. Okay,
So-
that's cool because like I definitely will want to do that. So like we can RP like Eden asking Colette
yeah,
at the
yeah,
beginning of next episode.
yeah.
But that's kind of how I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to like waste time, like you know,
RPing
every
that
session.
out, yeah.
Yeah,
It'll get a
RPing
little
that out.
mundane every time. So we
Yeah.
can just say that that's happening in the background. Not a problem.
Like I don't know, when she wakes up before everybody like heads out, like she'll be like, I don't know, slashing it like a mannequin outside where whatever property, like a tree or something. Like she'll just be throwing shit at a tree. I don't know, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
that's
so-
kind of what I did this last episode. Is when we
Exactly,
woke
yep.
up, I went out and it was just exercising and practicing.
Yeah. And I also think that Sparta's not a big melee guy, right? I can't remember.
No, he focuses on melee.
He does?
Yeah, his
Okay.
specialty is teeth and his fangs and claws.
Okay, so I was gonna say that
Isn't that
also
brawl?
could be a
Yep.
I think that's brawl.
Yeah, I got like 5
Even
points in brawl.
claws. Yeah, so it's not melee. Melee is knives and swords.
Okay, so he's a brawler.
brawler.
Yeah.
Like more fist than what you have on your body. Yeah. But fighting in that sense, he could also be a resource
Yeah, I
for
could
her.
also like ask you
Yeah.
to teach me
Teach me your ways.
eventually.
Teach me how to fight.
But then that would be like cute to like RP. Like because
Sparta's
it's
like,
me,
I don't
you
need to
know.
teach you to do anything. You just need to run into people.
Be like,
Okay,
here's what you
Eden,
do.
Go
Just
on the
backtrack
other
them.
side of the property and try to run into me now.
I'm ready.
Let's see what happens.
She sends me through the barn wall.
I don't know. You have like fortitude. You could probably counter that.
You
You
might.
could probably just
Hold
be
it.
like, I could probably like get more hurt than you.
That would be interesting.
Although, this past episode, I thought my ass was dead for sure. Once he
Dude,
started
okay,
tallying up the numbers,
Let's ask a question because like Jenna last time like asked like some good questions like what were we excited about, what we were scared about. Like I
Mhm.
mean, this is like definitely the top scary moment.
It was kind of scary
of
for me.
the
I was like,
whole
wait.
thing. Yeah, for me. So, what do you guys think?
What?
Like, definitely
Scary moment?
you guys saw me. Like, I literally retreated on my chair and I was like this for like 5 minutes. I couldn't take it. I was like, oh my god. Like, Alejandro is not here. I am a new vampire. I can't meta too hard. Like, I still need to make, have it make sense where, like, I'm not doing the most and just trying to justify me, like, being OP or whatever. So, like, I was freaking out. I legit was like, okay, rip Sparta.
Yep.
I thought it was gonna be me first, but I guess
It's
not.
So it's funny because I knew that it wasn't necessarily going to kill him, but I think what got all of us like discombobulated was like figuring out the damage and all of that and like how much he was actually damaged, which is now something that I have like looked into more on my own so that we can figure that out for next time. Because it wasn't intended that he was gonna die. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't the intent of him getting shot. So, but it definitely like brought some really funny like shock to you guys. Like whenever I think it wasn't whenever he got shot. That's not whenever Fenice like started freaking out. She literally was like, she like rolled her eyes. I remember looking at her whenever I said that you jumped and it was like pop, 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 and you get shot, and she goes like, duh, like
of course.
yeah.
Like,
So
what was he expecting?
what was he
I'm like,
thinking?
yeah, no, I'm like about to rip my hair. Like I'm like, okay, good, there you go. Like I'm like, perfect. But
The moment
again, I couldn't say shit because like it makes sense for Sparta as this character.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like I thought about it. I was like, okay, maybe I should just talk to him. And then I was like, well, wait a second. This isn't something that he would do. He's not going to sit there and chit chat with the guy who's pointing a gun at him.
No, I think your character acted exactly how he would have.
Yeah, exactly.
But the moment that everything like changed for you guys was whenever I started to describe what was happening with the bullets. And then when I was saying like you were like clawing at yourself, that's whenever I like looked over at Fenice and she was just like, oh my god, like what is going on?
So
Yeah.
I was reading other stuff, right? Because I was looking at the weapons for the Inquisition and for the FBI and stuff. Like they actually like one of the weapons that has been like mentioned around is like one that actually explodes inside like a sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like that's what I thought. I was like, oh my god, if he doesn't take, what if it's 3 of them? Like he's gonna be disintegrated.
And then like, I failed the frenzy roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Things got hairy for a minute, for sure. No, they weren't the exploding sun bullets, thankfully for you.
Yeah,
but they
there's
definitely
some gnarly shit, guys. There's like some gnarly new technology, especially like I would say special forces more than like the Inquisition. But sometimes the Inquisition works with the FBI. If not, it's the FBI itself. So like it really depends on the storyteller and how they take the V5 like changes and like whatever happened, like contextualized to the modern society of now, contemporary now. Like, you know, versus like 2000s, like 20 years ago, you know, very different. Like we couldn't do that, but now we can. Mm-hmm. So like the possibilities are endless. Like to recreate like the sun or fire, like that's easy. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, I was like, oh cool, awesome, Inquisition, fantastic. That's exactly what we need. A group of fanatics that has like super powerful,
the purist
vampire. No, like she said, Buffy. No, yeah. Because I remember you guys watched Buffy, right?
Yep.
She had at a certain point like blessed, like whatever, like bullets that like would burn vampires from the inside or whatever. That's why I was like, oh my god, that's some Buffy shit. That's some Blade shit right there.
Yeah, when you called Alejandro, there's like some Blade shit going on here. You need like, where are you?
Oh my god.
Also, one thing I want to mention is I am so surprised how well Alejandro took that sucker punch from Colette. I was not expecting him to just stand there and take that. Like, she just walked up and wham, sucker punched him right in the face. And
Okay, so
I was
about
really surprised.
that comment and the whole everything that happened with that one comment where Alejandro says to Colette, "At least I haven't forgotten who the fuck I am," and the build up to that, it was all from observations. For Alejandro, when he was observing and seeing how Colette became when Ashley was around, to how she had been addicted to him, you're like, oh fuck, okay, let's start clawing a little bit. Let's start being an asshole.
Start?
Yeah, let's start digging.
I don't think I think he started a long time ago. I don't think he ever stopped.
Yeah. But he really wanted to see where to push, what buttons can I push. And I think with how Colette has been treating him, he kind of had enough.
Clearly, Colette has had enough too.
So when he flat out said, you know, at least I haven't forgotten who I belong to, which clan I am part of, or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact wording, but
I think you said like, at least I haven't forgotten who I am or whatever, something like that for sure.
yeah, it was something along those lines.
I think you actually used the word clan. You like threw it in her face, like, we're the same clan, and at least like I know who I belong to.
Yeah, it was something along those lines, which it was the reaction Alejandro was looking for. He wanted to get a reaction. He said that just to get a reaction, which had made me start thinking a lot of other things that might be happening.
I don't think she reacted to that though. So that's one thing. Like, I think you're just speculating that she reacted to the comment that you made. So that's one thing that you'll just have to see why she reacted the way she reacted. Because she's not insecure necessarily with who she is as a person or in a like as a bruja necessarily. So that's just something that you'll have to figure out. Did she react to that particular comment, or did she just react to the situation? So you'll have to see how she actually reacted.
Oh my god. I gotta apologize to you guys a little bit, or I don't know. But making you guys break in an intense situation is such a fun thing to do. When I broke you guys with the Tom Cruise comment about Tom Cruise getting behind the wheel again, and everyone just breaks character.
I was not expecting it.
I was not expecting it. That's why, like, I've been trying so hard not to laugh. Like, I try to, like, allow myself to laugh when I'm not in the scene, when I'm not, like, right close by in whatever is happening, so I can have a laugh as Fenice. But if I'm in the scene and I'm talking and whatever, like, I try to, like, you know, take it seriously, but holy shit, Memzi, like, I had to literally, like, take a breath and be like, okay, like, I was not expecting that. I need to, like, go back to, like...
And honestly, a little bit of an insight. I was actually gonna say Mel Gibson and not Tom Cruise.
Now, see, if you would have said Tiger Woods, because he just like recently got into a really bad accident, then I probably really would have died.
You see, I didn't know that, so that would have flown up.
Yeah, he like, recently just like totaled his car and was like he had emergency surgery and all kinds of crap.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say Mel Gibson because of Like everyone remembers the whole fucking drunk driving incident like 10, 15 years ago. So I was gonna say him, but
It worked
Tom Cruise
either
came out
way.
instead.
It worked either way.
But
It
It
was
worked.
funny.
like those type of comments, they've happened now 2 times in a row. The 2 past episodes where, and I guess subconsciously it's a way
Ow.
for my character, for me to like ease up the situation a little bit, because I've been in RP situation where it gets heavy. It gets like that you need a little, just a tiny comic relief, so that it doesn't get too far into yourself.
I mean,
You're
I feel
definitely
like
not it.
as far, yeah, I feel like as far as like your character, it makes sense that
Yeah.
he would throw like a self-defense mechanism, like funny comment out there to exactly do that.
I think it makes perfect
So that
sense.
yeah, it makes absolute sense.
So expecting like a lot.
And I mean, I love that, like, it's still like kind of our world, so we can still like bring up like pop reference like, pop references and stuff. So I mean, it probably would have made sense for like, whomever was there, if they know what it was, like, to actually
Uh-oh. Hello.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Hello?
Like,
Oh, my internet went down for a second. Am I back? Okay, I think I'm good.
yeah.
Let me make sure the stream's okay.
We're back. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're good.
it's just
I'm
one of those
frozen.
things. I'm
Okay, no.
moving.
Okay. I was frozen for a second on
Everything froze for me for a second, so.
yeah.
No, I think that it makes perfect sense that your character does stuff like that. And I think like for OOC reasons it makes sense, but to like kind of like you said, bring that comic relief. But I think that character wise too, like it makes sense for that to happen, character wise.
Well, I mean, anyone who's RP'd for a while, whether it's tabletops or other, have probably been in the scene where it's so tense, so that it literally affects you a little bit. And if you have those type of scenes, it affects you, overthink about it, and it just bothers you. So you gotta have a little bit of comedy, and a little bit of fun.
I would say the only like rebuttal I have to that thought process is don't take an experience away from someone else for comic relief, because just because like you might be feeling uncomfortable in the moment doesn't mean that everybody else is feeling uncomfortable in the moment, and it might ruin the moment for somebody else instead of adding to it. You know what I mean? So it's like if there is a serious moment that needs to be serious and it should be serious, don't make it funny just to cover up like, oh, I'm like, this is too serious for me, because that might start taking away from like other people's experiences. You know what I mean? Because there are sometimes like, because that happens to me, like that used to happen to me all the time in like GTA RP, is like I'm trying to have this like serious conversation with somebody and they're just like joking. And I'm just like, okay, well, this takes away from the effect of this RP that I'm doing right now, because this is meant to be a really serious conversation. This is meant to be something that your character understands the weight of what my character is saying. So it can take away from it in some certain situations for other people. So
I mean, obviously you're not
yeah.
gonna do it mid-scene. I mean, I think the comment was more because, it was end of scene. It was
Everything had already happened and it was being wrapped up.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it wouldn't have made sense for that comment to be thrown if, for example, Alejandro was there and like, he was seeing like Sparta on the floor screaming and like have like commented that. You know what I mean?
Then it would have been like, really?
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Exactly.
Like now
Exactly.
you want to joke?
Yeah.
Like this isn't the time. Yeah, I agree.
But after the fact, like he comes in, like obviously, like that's
Yeah.
made sense in
Exactly.
my eyes. It made sense.
I
But
agree.
yeah, I guess like it was one of those comments where like it was kind of like so perfectly placed there that like I lost it for a second.
Right.
I was just like,
Exactly.
There is one thing that just popped into my head that we actually didn't talk about last time, and then something that we could maybe start talking about.
Dude, you're so fat.
I know
Sorry.
I am. Jesus Christ. But we could. How would the chat like if we started looking at the what ifs?
What do
on
you
certain
mean?
What do you mean?
scenes? What if, let's say, for example, what if Alejandro was actually there?
Then I wouldn't have had to
What-
gone into combat with Ronaldo.
True.
I mean, you gotta learn. What would
Honestly,
happen? What
though,
would certain
I
characters
think
do?
I think that if Alejandro was there, it probably would have went down the same way that it went down. It just Eden wouldn't have Mack trucked to that guy. It would have probably been Alejandro that finished him off. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the same type, because Alejandro isn't going to stop and talk either, probably. Like,
yeah,
he probably would have
Well-
reacted.
It depends, because if you put his detective work, right, hostage negotiation into play.
But would you
Or-
have been able to stop Sparta from doing what Sparta did?
Probably not.
That is another question. Because yes, Alejandro could have done. Alejandro could have flat out tried to negotiate, because
Right.
at that point, okay, you have a hostage. Cute. You kill that hostage. You got 3 people that are gonna come after you. Who's gonna have better odds? Oh, you have a weapon. Okay, let me tell you this then. Then Alejandro could pop his daunt on.
yeah,
He'd
exactly.
say, "Oh, you're gonna attack? That guy, he's dead."
Yeah, and Daunt
for him.
on humans is like there's no escape with Daunt.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, if Alejandro was at that situation and he did use Dawn and was successful, we would have an interrogation coming in.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
But it probably would have been pretty hard because he jumped as soon as he looked over and saw the guy. It was like instant.
Yeah, it was pretty instant. He didn't think too much about what he was doing. He just reacted.
Which is something he would do as a werewolf hunter.
Easy now, Van Helsing.
I mean, I guess I see it probably have happening pretty similar to how it happened. Like I said, it probably just wouldn't have been Eden that finished the guy off. And maybe he wouldn't have died. He would have just been like restrained. You know what I mean? Like if Alejandro was there, then he might have just restrained the guy instead of like killing him. Because the guy was knocked down. You know what I mean? Like if it's funny because Ronaldo could have restrained this guy. But Ronaldo was distracted by the fire bullets. So he didn't really know. He was just like kind of in shock at that moment. And I did that on purpose because for one, like Ronaldo is not a big fighter. That's not typically the situations that he gets himself into. And it's been a theme for him that like every time things start to get like physical or weird like that, he's kind of gets on edge and he's like, oh no, like this, he knows like this isn't my forte. Like I don't want to fight people. That's basically just like how he is. So he doesn't just run aimlessly into a fight. He is more calculated in those situations. But in this particular situation, the shock of this particular bullet and gun, because I can imagine that it didn't fire like a regular bullet or like a regular gun either. Like it probably would have been a lot louder, and you would have seen this like glowing bullet
glowing
flying
thing, yeah.
into Sparta. So and then Sparta's reaction was enough also to just kind of like keep Ronaldo in that shock factor of like, I'm not going to attack this guy. Like, he just shot fire bullets at this dude. Like, so he was just like waiting to see what happened, and just like, he's not gonna like rush over and like attack the guy. So, but he could have, you know what I mean? Like, he could have just ran over and easily restrained him or whatever, taken the gun, or, you know, multiple things could have happened.
And it makes sense for his character, because he was using me as a shield the whole way up to the freaking gate.
Yeah, he was hiding. Let's see what Jess says. I'm still interested to see if any species of, other than kindred will be included. That sentence hurt my brain. Not because of you, because of me. Like, to see if any other species are having problems with or knows who we are looking for. Might be adding too much to the story, but if we had time, it would be cool to add it. I mean, we have all the time in the world. we haven't necessarily put any like ending on this, so it doesn't matter.
Even because like
10 years
Jenna
later.
10 years later. Oh.
Jenna chose a very interesting spot to have this campaign happen. You know, like I feel like there's a lot of like magic stuff around, you know, the area we're inhabiting in Jenna's world. So, you know, and again, the world of darkness has a bunch of fun stuff. Like, you never know.
And I don't think we disclosed this to everyone. I think, did we talk about it in our podcast? I don't remember. It was either a podcast or a private call that we did. But we do know, just based off of Sparta's backstory, that there are werewolves that exist in this area. So whether they will come into play or not, we don't know. But possibly they might show up at some point. We never know. If the story calls for that type of situation, then
it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
There's several interesting.
But we do know that they exist. At least we know they exist. And if they pop up in a little side story somewhere along the way, then yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But other types of, you know, supernatural beings is to be determined, other than werewolves' existence. But yeah, definitely, that's the nice thing about World of Darkness, is there's lots of things that you can bring into your story to add other layers than just vampires. You know, there's lots of other supernatural beings you can pull from.
They give you a lot to work with.
Yeah. And the nice thing is like, one thing I was reading, like when I was reading through like all of the rules and different things like that, is like, I think it's like the last rule is basically, it says something along the lines of like, these are just like guidelines, but like you make this world, this experience, like your own. Like, we've given you these suggestions, these tools, these guidelines, but that doesn't mean that you can only stay confined within those things. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to add things to it, it's not like you're doing anything wrong by adding to it. So they really like give you creative freedom in that sense of adding more stuff to your stories and to your worlds and stuff like that. So the possibilities are endless. And it'll be a lot of fun. It'll also be fun to see how these particular threats develop in how like you guys respond to them over time. Because like right now it's just like in your face, in your face, in your face. But that's not necessarily going to be how it is all of the time. So what happens when, the threat neutralizes for a little bit? How does that affect your group? Do you guys just start to get complacent and, because that could be a really bad thing when complacency is, can be deadly sometimes. So, should be interesting to see. I think that it's been set up to have a lot of interesting outcomes for sure, depending on where the RP goes from here. Which is completely up to you guys.
I agree, and right now I have no idea where it's going. So far, everything's been kept a mystery.
That's probably how it will be for a little while until you guys actually start to figure things out. Because right now, like, you haven't really found any answers or any information that would kind of lead you into the direction of knowing what's going on. Now, you did get confirmation of Isaiah last episode. We did get that confirmation of him being who you guys thought he was, but that still's like, okay,
all we have is a name.
Right, we have a name and we have a better description now because she saw his features more clearly. But other
and we
than
have
that,
confirmation of a religious quacks.
yeah. But you guys don't know if those two things are connected. You don't know if Isaiah is connected to this purist group.
Honestly, it sounds like the purist sounds like the fucking Bible nuts from Far Cry 5.
Right?
That's funny. I love Far Cry. That's like one of my favorite game franchises. Okay, well, shocking factors. One thing that I want to talk about. Hello, Cherry. How are you doing?
Okay.
Oh, what was I gonna ask? Oh, is there one thing in particular that happened? How do I want to word this? That you wish would have gone differently? Like you were like, oh, I wish this would have happened in that particular situation. Because for me, as a storyteller, kind of setting things up, there are like certain things that I want to happen. Just like, I'm like, well, this would be fun if this happened, but then it like happens completely differently. So it leaves me with those like wants of like different interactions. But have you guys felt like that of like interactions with characters or even just like different ways that things have gone that have left you kind of, oh, I wish that, that would have gone a different way?
Not so much with the story, but I wish I had passed that frenzy roll so bad. I was like, please let me pass this fucking roll. And then when I failed all of it, I was like, ah, damn it. Well, I'm out. Everybody else is going to have to save my ass.
What is this that you sent? Sorry, I got
Except, like, I knew that there was, like, because, like, if you go and see, like, I'm crazy, right? But there's, like, different, like, energetic, whatever, ley lines in the world. And so I was like, I'm pretty sure that New Orleans has to be one. And so I went and looked, and yeah, it is.
What does that mean?
Considered one. It means that, like, there's a lot of, like,
Magic.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Energy, power, magic.
The power, like the witches, even the Tremere probably use those. The Tremere would
One
probably
of the
know all
biggest
about
ones, actually, like, it's, like, up north here. Like, so San Francisco is pretty, like, intense, too. That's why I put my campaign here around this area. Like,
Gotcha.
California, up north. Yeah.
That's cool. So the possibility of all types of things is really there.
Very high.
It's accurate.
Because there's like, energy that any supernatural creature would like to probably be able to access.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. Also, Sparta, I didn't hear your answer. Sorry.
I'm going to go to the bathroom, Rikas. I'll be right back.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. I said I didn't have anything that I would have changed with the story. The only thing that I wish I said, I wish I had passed that frenzy roll. When I failed all of the dice, I was like, son of a bitch. Well, I'm out. So somebody's going to have to come save me or I'm dead.
Yeah, I feel like you and Alejandro have both been in spotty positions multiple times where you haven't rolled very well. But I feel like for that particular, like, obviously it would have been nice to like pass the frenzy roll, but I also think like since the combat kind of stopped as quickly as it did, like it wasn't that big of a deal that you were like stuck in that moment. You know what I mean? Now, if like the fight had continued, then it would have like been really bad because you would have just been like totally out of it and not been able to help in any type of way. And I think that probably would have had like bigger consequences than what happened.
Definitely. And I did think it was badass that Colette just jumped and just took my knife and just carved out the bullets.
Yeah, she's like, I gotta get these things out of you. She told you this is gonna fucking hurt, and that was it. She was just like, gotta get these things out because they were very clearly causing some issues. Yeah, that whole thing was.
And when I actually jumped, I still thought it was a normal gun until you said the burning sensation. I was like, oh shit.
I did try to like give you some warning that it didn't look like any gun that you had ever seen. So I tried to kind of set it up that I don't think you were expecting like fire bullets, but
yeah, that's the last thing that I expected.
Yeah, I did try to kind of set it up that it didn't look like your typical handgun, but yeah, it didn't defer you from pouncing.
Nope.
You're like, don't care. Here I go. Pounce away. One moment. So for the rest of you, is there any moment like I was saying that you wish something else may have happened or come from something that happened? I know there's not that many opportunities to look back on, but
I mean, now that I know that information, obviously, like, it wasn't gonna happen, but like I wish something came out of the little creep in the woods situation. I mean, I still got something out of it. Like she like found one of the powers out, which is super cool. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I wish like, something happened. But then like it made sense if it was something like a tease to maybe like open up something else, like it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, I was kind of fixated, like how Memsy was like hyper focused on something that was my thing. I was like, okay, I need to figure out who the fuck was that then. Like who is it? Like it was a kindred. So if that kindred was involved with the people that came and broke in, the sect, the cult, whatever, anti-vampire cult. So are the kindred also working with them? And if they are, like, what is happening? Like, so like I was like hyper
focused,
intense on that one thing. So that's the one.
Yeah, and it's funny because it was like it's not to say that nothing will come of it eventually, but in that particular moment there wasn't a whole lot. It was depending on how you guys reacted too. Like I knew that I needed to have something ready that if it was like, if you caught him or whatever, him or her, like, okay, now we're in this situation. I need to, like, I did have a plan, but it didn't. The reason why you didn't catch them is because they were just too far ahead of you that you wouldn't have been able to catch them in that moment. Like, maybe if you continued to pursue them, then eventually you would have been able to catch up, but they got a head start. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before you kind of took off after them. And they were already, like, pretty far away from you. So...
No, it made sense. Like, in the moment, it made sense. But I was like, okay, well, this happened. So, like, this is important. This is as important as, like, you know, that other thing. So why is nobody fucking going and looking at the shit?
And that's why, like, when Colette was kind of like, okay, well, I mean, if you want to, like, go... look, like, but nobody was like, Colette and Ronaldo weren't like that focused on what was happening, and that was to kind of like reel you back in and be like,
yeah, no, exactly. And I followed, right? I was like, okay, fine, like, I'm not gonna like waste time. This requires a whole night. Like, the fucking forest is big. Like,
yeah, it would have taken some time to like go through that and track somebody and see where that goes. And yeah, it would have been a whole thing, which I did present the opportunity of, like, if you want to go, and we'll see, like, and I was even ready of, like, okay, well, if she's going to, like, go out and be like, okay, Sparta, come with me and, like, let's see what we can find. And then I would have let that lead to wherever it would have led, obviously.
Yeah. Right. But at the same time, you know, like, it's like, as a character, too. Like, I was like, okay, well, the name Lindsay got mentioned. We definitely don't want to fuck with her. Like, we don't want her to wait. You know, that's the one thing that, like, she asked, like, Ronaldo and Colette. She's like, okay, like, tell me a little bit about the people, like. Yeah. And, you know, one of the things is, like, don't fuck with Lindsay. Like, she, you know, she's badass. She'll, like, have you, like, in no time. And I'm like, okay, well, then we gotta go. Like, we can't go investigate in the woods, you know, do a little campfire in there. Like, that's not gonna happen. Right. We're not gonna go camping tonight. So let's go talk to Lindsay, I guess. And so, yeah. And that's, like, thought process that, like, Eden, like, you know, went through. She was like, yeah, I want to go see, but, you know.
Too bad.
It wasn't the right time.
It wasn't the right time. Yeah.
One thing too is I think it's funny because Jess asked earlier about the Galeo sisters, about like, oh, well, will we see their bad side and whatever. And depending on how the conversation went, like, once after Ronaldo and Alejandro kind of had their little moment outside of his house and he went inside, I was, like, trying to figure out, okay, how would Ronaldo continue to act to this person that is, you know, in a way challenging him in a place that he doesn't have really any rights to challenge him. And the conversation didn't really get to a place where I feel like it would have made sense for for Ronaldo to, like, get hostile. But that would have been an interesting thing depending on how that went, because, especially if you didn't gather from how he immediately kind of interrupted, Alejandro and was like, watch your tone when you speak about Imani. Like, so that is, like, a whole thing that, like, it could have went somewhere if that issue kept getting pushed, you know what I mean? That was, like, another situation. What's up, Beatty? Where I was kind of like, well, that could have went a different place, you know what I mean? Because I think Ronaldo is definitely kind of, like, hands off when it comes to, like, fighting and confrontation. But obviously if you... What? No one called you B?
No, nobody called you BBD. She said
I
Beady.
said beady.
What's up, Jake? Hi.
But that was like another situation where I was like, well, that whole like everybody gathering back in the house before you guys decided to leave could have went differently. But I also think that Colette brought a different kind of energy and vibe, and she was kind of like the one in charge at that moment of like, this is what we're doing. We're not gonna fight with each other kind of thing. So get your shit together and let's go.
Beady, are you hallucinating?
Are you okay? I'm worried. Also, I saw you totally call me out for my accent, you bitch. Whatever. He was like, what is this accent? I'm dying. And I was just like, I hid chat because I still had like chat. I could like barely see it. I was like, fuck you, Beady. And I like put something over top it. It's funny because I literally told them, I was like, I have like a couple of accents that I'm planning on doing. Dude, you know how hard it is to... I'm not a professional, okay? I don't do this for a living. You know how hard it is to switch from your normal voice to an accent and then back to your normal fucking voice? I was like, I am dying right now. I can't play Penelope and Ashley at the same time. I can't fucking do this. Like, my brain was hurting. I even muted myself and was like practicing saying the accent out loud. Like, I don't know if you probably didn't notice.
No, but like
I was like,
what you gotta do.
This
like,
is so
honestly,
hard.
It's so hard.
It is so hard.
Train for months to like.
I was like, I can't do this shit.
It's hard. You just need to be patient, Jenna.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I stuck with it. I didn't care. I was like, whatever.
Exactly.
She's from some weird country. Okay, she's from a country you've never heard of. Like,
it wasn't even that bad. BD is just giving you shit, Jenna.
It's okay.
Don't worry about it. It's just being a dick.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, like, I wasn't that worried about, like, I really wasn't worried about it because I was like, this is really hard. Like, in that moment, I was like, okay, I underestimated, like, how difficult this was actually going to be because I was playing Ashley, who was like, oh my God, which is already not me. That's not my voice. You know what I mean? And then I'm playing this fucking, like, European person at the same time, and I was just like, okay, this is too much. This is too much for me. So I tried. That's also why Penelope didn't talk a lot, but it fits her character. I was like, thank God Penelope's not a talker because I was like, this is
It would have melted your brain.
It would have totally, like, if Penelope was the same vibe as Ashley, we would have had to stop the RP there because I would have been done. I don't know, like, sorry guys, I gotta tap out. But yeah, no, it was so funny. I saw your comment and I was just like, I have to hide this because then I'm gonna just like hyper focus on the fact that I can't switch between these accents this quickly. So, future scenes with Penelope and Ashley. Penelope and Ashley are not going to be in the same room at the same time. Oh.
And if they are, you're just gonna be like, they're just talking to each other and this is what you hear.
Yeah. And if you approach them, Penelope's gonna leave or Ashley's gonna leave. One of them is going to depart. But it does make sense because I already did know that like Penelope was gonna be kind of really quiet and not really interactive. I wanted there to be a really drastic difference between the two of them. So I was like, this really does kind of work that she is like really standoffish and doesn't want to talk. So I was just like, thank God I had like already planned for her to be like that because it worked. Because I was like being like that. I was like, don't talk to Penelope because I can't do Penelope's voice right now because my brain hurts. Oh my God. But it works because that is how she is supposed to be. She's really quiet and kind of standoffishy. Doesn't really want to talk to anybody. Like she talked to Eden a little, like she entertained the idea of like at least being around Eden You know what I mean? Whereas like Alejandro, she was like, no,
Yeah.
fuck you.
She's like, fuck this guy, I'm out.
Like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But Eden is obviously a little bit of a different story. So she entertained the idea of like being around her and seeing where conversation would have led, but she even then was still like really quiet and didn't say a lot and minimal in her expressions. But it works. And then you have her sister who's just like, oh my god. This is like so amazing.
So amazing. I think like Eden will like eventually like be more of a bubbly person, but I see her also being like in between like Ashley and maybe Colette, or Ashley and Lindsay, like kind of like a mix of the both personalities, you know?
Like Colette, but nicer and bubblier.
Yeah, exactly.
She's still like fierce.
Yeah.
And gives off like that vibe, but she's more like, hey,
hi,
what's up?
Is it time for let's fucking murder these people because I want to go party.
Yeah, I can see that with Eden.
Yeah,
she has that like fierce vibe, that like kind of Colette, like Lindsay vibe, but they're not like bubbly and happy necessarily, which is why I made it a point that when Colette was with Ashley, she did change, and there are reasons for that, like obviously, but you kind of are going to see that happen. Like the more that you see those two interact with each other, it's not in Colette's like character, so to speak, to be like that all of the time.
Why are you trying to change?
No, Ashley is not changing. Ashley is perfect.
Ashley is just great.
She's like perfect just the way she is. She doesn't need to change at all. Oh, she really like, it's so funny because I feel like there was so much anticipation like on meeting them that for me it was like really exciting to like finally like showcase her, and I had a lot of fun playing Ashley actually. Like whenever the whole like shrieking as soon as she saw you, like totally set the scene for like exactly the type of like person and interaction to expect with Ashley, of just being like, oh my god, like this is so great.
Yep. Like I said, Ashley was spot on what I was expecting. And that was probably my favorite part of the second episode, was the Galeo sisters.
Good. I'm glad. They're a fun bunch. I think that they will be fun to continue to when they come up. And I do think that they'll probably come up more frequently than like other people, just because of their connection with Eden. So you guys will probably see one or at least both of them. Possibly.
So expect more dirty looks is what you're saying.
Yeah. Exactly. You can expect to I have hiccups. You can expect to get more dirty looks from the both of them. Eden tolerates you guys a lot better than the Galeo sisters, but the Galeo sisters also have been around longer, so they don't have as much tolerance for that kind of stuff. They know what they like, and if it's not what they like, they don't have patience for it, basically. You'll start to see that everywhere they go is just really matches their vibes. Like their house was very nice. Everybody there was really nice. Like that's the kind of life they live, and they don't really deviate from that very often.
The glamorous lifestyle.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's like probably what Eden is gonna want to do, but like then she is gonna be a badass on the side, you know. I have plans. If I can, I will like try to get like I think like so this is definitely gonna pop up, like, you know, it's not like, I don't know, it is something that is gonna happen probably eventually, because again, money, right? But I want to eventually like get her, like she's gonna like out of control, but like I see Eden like just being like, okay, if I need to go on a fucking like mission, I'm not fucking up my shit. I'm gonna have like clothing specifically assigned and designed for,
Oh God.
you know,
For the coterie missions.
for the coterie stuff, related stuff, so I don't fuck my designer clothes, right? So I was like, probably like she's like, okay, like she might eventually realize like something that, you know, doesn't necessarily stain or like or whatever, and I'm like, ooh, you know what, like what about a latex suit or like latex pants
Oh my
and
god.
something like that.
That would
And I'm
be
like,
hilarious.
yeah, that would be amazing. So maybe one day, like that's what's gonna happen.
I dig it. I
It
dig
makes
it.
sense though.
Eden's like, hold on, I gotta get changed. He comes back full
just
body
gonna, like-
latex. Okay, guys, I'm ready.
Oh no, she'll probably like just have that underneath, you know, if it's like a skin tight like bodysuit, like whatever.
Oh,
You're just like,
Jesus.
"Swoop, I'm ready. Let's go."
Can't wait to hear the comments.
We're going to. Oh.
Oh, right. Both of us are just gonna look at it and just shake our heads and
She's got her body condom on again.
We're going on a mission, not a dungeon. Get it right.
She's gonna get eaten. Yes, yes.
She'll be slippery. It won't
I'll be extra slippery.
extra slippery. They're gonna
I'll
need to
just
have
oil
extra.
it up.
Oh my
I'll
god.
just oil it
Baby
up.
oil on it.
So that like if somebody tries to grab her, she's just like like a bar of soap.
Hell yeah, extra
Oh,
advantage. Match that with her fleetness. She's
I'll
untouchable.
just, like, exactly. I'll just like look at the boys and be like, "You were saying what about being lubricated?"
I'm not even gonna comment on that. All right, if you want to be a walking dildo, that's all up to you.
Oh my gosh. That would be really funny.
It's galaxy brain.
it'll
You
be
guys
funny
are
if you
jealous.
trip and fall and then you just slide like
Yeah.
100 feet.
Yeah, she can't stop. She's like, ah!
Exactly.
Oh god! No! Not like this!
Choose your hands.
Never.
Oh goodness. That's too funny. I would imagine that Eden would have like special clothes that she would wear on certain.
Oh yeah, whenever
Things.
like they call her like Eden, you're gonna meet up with Sparta and like Alejandro, and she's like, oh my god. Okay, fine, let's go to my adventure wardrobe.
Adventure
Like,
wardrobe.
Oh God, fucking damn it.
I thought it was funny that Ashley's like, you want to go upstairs and get changed? Like, I was so ready. I was like, this is gonna take like an hour. Like,
No, no, it has to have a crotch. Crotch?
that
It's
sounds
like special
painful.
crotchless latex, but it has to have it. We don't need it, anything. Vampires don't have sex or pee or do
Or
anything
pee,
really.
yeah. They don't have any type of human body functions.
Anything, yeah.
Which is so interesting because I was thinking about this because we were talking about like when we were commenting about, oh, like how does love like affect vampires and different things like that. Like clearly vampires have emotions. Like we've seen that. Like that's clear that they have emotions and they think. So I'm like, do their brains work? I'm like I was like thinking about this the other night whenever I was laying in bed. I was like, how does this actually work? Like their brains have to work to some level. They wouldn't be able to move their bodies. They wouldn't be able to feel things. They wouldn't be able to think. Like, they wouldn't be able to register pain. And that was another thing, is I was like, how can they register pain, but they can't, like, register other things like cold and heat? That doesn't make sense in my brain. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand how this works. You can't have one without the other. How can I feel pain, but I can't feel if something is hot or cold?
No, you can feel if something is hot.
It's the same nerve endings.
But I guess, like, the cold, like, you could probably feel that it's cold, but it wouldn't necessarily affect you. I think, like, the heat, it's just because it's associated with the burning, right?
And okay,
so,
that
like,
makes sense.
they would probably be unsettled because of that.
Because of,
it's
like, the
why
fire.
is it heat?
Yeah.
What is heating? Is it fire? Is it what is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think, like, in that sense, it would probably, like, affect them mentally more.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
So
I feel like they
like
would,
affecting as far as, like, sweating or,
Right.
you know, doing any, or, like, feeling shivers and cold. Like, they
Yeah.
could probably feel it.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess, like, they could feel, like, you know, like, if not, they wouldn't be feeling touch either, right?
Right.
Like, you would
That's
just
what I
touch,
mean.
like, the arm of a vampire, and they're like, I can't feel shit. Like, but obviously that doesn't happen. So, like, I just believe that, like, again, the predatorial style of my character, that she's going to eventually develop more as, you know, we go about it, is the siren. So, like, she will have to engage in some, like, intimate behavior in order to, you know, do something. So I believe that, you know, like, you can still feel something, but you don't necessarily get off of it.
It
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
register the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Yeah, that does make sense that way. Like, it's not that they can't feel cold. It's just they aren't bothered by it like a human
Yeah.
would be.
It's just neutral. It's just like,
Yeah.
it just is. It's cold.
Yeah. Okay.
they recognize the sensation, but it doesn't
Yeah.
affect the same.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense. I was struggling with that because I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how can they feel pain, but they can't feel this? Like, they wouldn't be able to feel anything if that was the case. Like, their brains have to be working in some capacity. It's just obviously not the same as, like, a human brain. And you're not reacting to it the same way. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Also, Bloosh, they don't reproduce. You can't have a baby vampire, which would be terrifying.
No, you can't. That would be terrifying.
Could you
That would
imagine,
be
like, the
fucking
terrible
legit
twos,
terrifying.
like, just
No.
like just
No.
your baby toddler
Right.
vampires just, like, running around killing people. That sounds like a handful.
Speaking of, I thought it was great when they ordered her a snack to come down, Uber Eats style.
Yeah.
That had me rolling.
It's funny because when we were in the house, I originally was going to do that when she asked Ashley did she ask Ashley or Penelope? I can't remember.
I
think
asked both of them.
Oh,
We were
okay.
at the
bar.
bar, and we were just getting introduced, and I was like, by the way, do you guys have something to eat?
Yeah, so that was gonna, like, be a thing. So, like, that's one thing that can be expected at, like, parties, especially with, you know, lots of kindred gathered. It would be probably common that there would be some snacks around.
Volunteers.
Yeah, we call them volunteers. That's what I decided to call them. So I had already kind of, like, planned for that. It didn't happen in the actual house, and things progressed. So
Well, I mean,
we got distracted.
everything went to shit.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't.
we got
we didn't have time.
distracted with other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are in those situations, there are usually people around. If somebody needs something urgently, they can kind of get their fill and and be okay.
Yeah.
Because that is one thing that, like, especially, like, older vampires would realize, like, you know, shit could go bad quickly. So it's better to have some
Emergency rations.
yeah, there you go.
Well, you can have your herd, right? Which are people that you can
True.
kind of, like, go and be like, yo, You want to feel the best orgasm in your life for a second, so I can eat, and you can have that.
There you go. Enjoy.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But the Galeo sisters definitely have volunteers around.
And also, that's one of the reasons why vampires keep ghouls around too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like personal snack always available. Like, you know, wake up, you're hungry, get a little, and then go about your day.
Okay, I'm good. That's crazy.
So, you know.
I
Convenient.
did even read that I don't remember if it was a certain predator type or what I was reading, but they did mention too that some vampires will actually like marry humans and use them for that.
Oh yeah, I know which one.
I
you're
can't
talking
remember
about.
where.
Yeah.
I think it was a
I remember the
predator.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll have like a whole human life, so to speak.
Yeah, human
With,
family, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah. And that's like their purpose is just like to feed them. Like, what? That's crazy. I mean, resourceful, but I don't know if I would want to. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to do that necessarily. And yeah, you'd have to replace your family often. I feel like I would get too involved and be like,
Yeah.
I love you
Yeah,
now. Fuck.
no.
I have to turn you into a vampire so I can love you forever. Sorry.
And then we'll have to get another family. Fuck.
Yeah, and then we'll love them. Shit.
I mean,
We'll just be like this big polygamous vampire family.
You could always
Kill
go
your
Mormon, right?
family for fun.
Could happen.
What were you saying, Mamsie?
You could always go Mormon. That would be like the perfect one for a vampire, right?
Not all Mormons are polygamous, but yes.
Sims rip.
But yeah, oh my gosh. A polygamous vampire family. You guys are giving me ideas.
It's like this vampire with a harem of like human wives. Like,
welcome to my humble abode. It's just like this
and
huge.
they're all dressed in like kitty clothing with kitty ears and like
Oh,
sexy
no.
lingerie.
Oh,
And they just
man.
go around like meowing.
No.
That's actually a real
Oh,
thing, you guys.
boy.
I saw it on Vice. There's a house like upstate, like here in California. It's like the House of Kittens or some shit.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
No.
Yeah,
That's not okay.
yeah. So like literally, like the woman that was interviewing them came in, and all the girls were like meow.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's-
each to their own.
That would be a bit too
Each to
weird.
their
for
own.
I'd
me.
have been like, it's time for me to go. This is too much for me to handle.
Sorry.
It would be funny though. There are several characters who have yet to be developed. There might be a polygamous vampire family thrown in there somewhere. Why not?
Why not?
That would be hilarious. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I feel like one interesting thing is like vampire relationships, because like
Mhm.
you're alive for so long. I would feel like you would develop like strong connections to a lot of like different kindred,
Absolutely.
especially like vampires that like are very old.
Mm-hmm.
So like you might end up like being like a polyamorous vampire in a way, because you know like you're living forever. Like you're really truly gonna like be around
Be with one person.
one person for 600 years. I mean, it's very romantic,
Yeah.
but you know, it's 600
The likelihood
years.
of that actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's actually one area that I am like excited the most to kind of develop in our own way in our sessions is like relationships. And like clearly I've already made it very clear that like there are certain people that are really connected, like not necessarily romantically, but just like they have strong connections with these people, and they
have
will
a
protect
story.
them, right? So it's like, but you can imagine living alongside somebody 2, 3, 4, 500 years, like that person is going to mean a lot to you if
yeah,
you make it
100%.
that long. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Like that's a long ass time to know somebody. So that the connection and ties that you have to that other kindred is going to be incredibly strong, which is what I'm trying to tap into with certain things that maybe will begin to happen, which is like what I started to tap into with Ronaldo and Imani, with his comment of like, watch your tone when you speak about Imani. Like he's really protective of her, but it's because they've likely known each other for a really long time. So it's like, you think about somebody that you love, like, and you're going to protect that person, but now magnify that by having been connected with that person in that way for 200-300 years.
A few centuries, yeah.
It's going to be incredibly strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that it's a really interesting aspect to explore and see how it affects certain situations and things like that. And yeah, so, and watching the different characters become really protective in certain situations and things like that. So, I think that it's a fun area to explore for sure. And then you add like romance in there too, and like what does that look like? You know, it's a lot to explore, and there can be a lot of really fun stories, I think, that can be told through that kind of stuff.
I agree.
It's so
And a
hard
lot of
'cause
drama will come up out of it.
Oh yeah, I want to tell you guys things, but I can't. God
Right?
dang it.
What was your favorite moment, Jenna?
I think my favorite moment was, there were two moments. So it was centered around Colette. It was when we got to the Galeos and you guys could see kind of a brief little difference in her. Because I feel like that is a big potential if you guys definitely, you know, bring it up or start to notice things. But that is one thing, just because I think that it leads to important things for her and her storyline. And then the other one was how she reacted to Alejandro when Alejandro returned, because that also, her reaction is going to be really significant to her story and kind of what's going on with her. And you know what I mean? Because that's the thing, is like, you guys have no idea these characters' backstories. Like, we all kind of know each other's backstories a little bit here and there, you know what I mean? But you don't know anything about the NPCs' backstories. And I'm planning on only revealing that stuff through in-character conversations if it comes up.
Yeah, of course.
So for her, if, you know, things like this, when situations like this happens, it's like small glimpses of moment or small opportunities for you guys to begin to figure out, why is Colette the way that she is, kind of thing. What makes her tick? What's her backstory? Why is she the way that she is? And why did she react that way, kind of thing. So it kind of is an opportunity to develop that backstory, which I am really excited about, because that's the stuff that I care about, like the backstory, that kind of stuff is really fun and important, because that's whenever you really get into like the storytelling aspect of this all, even for you guys too with your characters. So I think those probably were the two moments, kind of highlighting little moments with Colette that has potential to open up conversations that could reveal things about her as, you know, a person, if you want to call her a person, as a kindred, and what kind of life she has lived this existence and previous existence. So that was it. I really like Colette. She's my favorite. I mean, Ronaldo, I think, is my favorite. Like, he will always be my favorite, but I don't enjoy playing him as much as I enjoy playing Colette.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colette definitely seems like she's more fun to play.
Yeah, she is.
As a character, Ronaldo's definitely my favorite as far as a character goes, but Colette definitely seems like she's more fun.
Yeah, she's also like younger. She's not like as like out of touch with like human, like she's not 300 years old. So she has a little bit, she's easier for me to relate to as a character. Because Ronaldo, like, he really, being 300 years old, he's not really in touch with society and human.
What's an email?
Yeah, like, he doesn't use a cell phone. He doesn't watch TV. Like, you know what I mean?
He uses a rotary phone.
Yeah, he uses a rotary phone. Did you guys like that?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It's a rotary phone. They probably had to, like, have that specially installed to work properly. But yeah, so he's harder to play, but I do really enjoy him as a character. I can't relate to him as much, so I think that's why I naturally like Colette a little bit more, playing her over him. And I think she also connects with the group a little bit better than Ronaldo. There is a little bit of a disconnect with Ronaldo in the group, but I feel like that would happen naturally, especially considering all of you guys are pretty young kindred, you know? So Ronaldo's like, why did they give me the babies again? Like,
Right.
Can't handle it. Can't. I don't have time for this shit.
Can't you just
I
like
got grandpa
figure
shit
shit
to do.
out? You know what? Come and talk to me in like 100 years. We'll get along then. In the meantime, no. Oh, my internet went again, I think. Why does this keep happening? Hold on. Computer, you okay? Oh, there we
There
go.
you
Okay.
Why does that keep happening? I wonder if I know they're doing construction in the area. My water was off for a few hours the other day. I'm wondering if they're messing things up. Anyway.
We're still like. Oh no. Okay, Mimsy is back. Okay, we're back. Okay. I was just frozen like this.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, she's not holding that face for this long. Something's going on.
No.
She's really excited.
What about you guys? Sparta and
Favorite
Alejandro,
moments?
Mimsy, Steve.
For me, it was playing that challenging character. Just Alejandro being just challenging to everyone and not giving a shit. And, you know, poking into his detective story and asking the questions like, I want fucking answers.
I was actually surprised that you didn't snap at me both the times that I started yelling at you. I was expecting you to snap.
I think one of the reasons Alejandro doesn't snap is because you're like, Sparta is still a very young vampire, and he's like, you got a lot to learn to control your anger.
Fox a Bruja. Like.
I know, right?
It's like a walking contradiction.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
I mean,
I think
Colette is older than Alejandro by quite a few years, and she still let her anger get the best of her and pop you in the face. So I don't feel like Brujas really grasp the idea of controlling their emotions.
But you gotta remember, Alejandro is extremely in touch with his human life of what he was, but he likes to poke holes into people. He likes to he likes pretty much he likes to piss people off. Um, he did it with Ronaldo.
You did it with
He's done it with huh?
you did it with Eden as well. You were digging at her pretty hard on the first one.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's the interesting development that's going on there is he still gives Eden a lot of shit, but he also tries to guide her into using her fucking head. Like when she came back from trying to hunt a mysterious shadow in the middle of fucking nowhere without just going in completely headless. And he said it flat out, like, you gotta be smart. You go in, that person is more powerful, you're dead. It's about picking and choosing.
Eden definitely got dumped on that whole situation.
And then she walked in the house with Ronaldo and Colette. And they're like, okay, cool.
They were like, okay,
what's the problem?
Well. Cool. What
good job, you can run fast.
She was like, huge question mark on top of her head, just like, what is the right thing?
Like I said, the difference between talking to a 300-year-old vampire and like a 30-some-year-old vampire, it's gonna be a lot different. Like, he's like, okay, cool. That man probably has seen and everything there is to be seen in this lifetime. He is not surprised by anything or like caught off guard except for fire bullets. Apparently those definitely caught him off guard. But when it comes to running after mysterious people, he was not fazed. Tried to cook leeks.
The Alejandro will definitely piss people off. Why? That's for people to find out. That's the best I can say. But I think the situation with Colette, where he managed to poke her to the point of violence, was probably one of my favorite moments. And, of course, the Tom Cruise moment.
The only problem I have with that is I think that sometimes you read those situations incorrectly. Like, you think that people are reacting because you're poking.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Alejandro as a character, right? He's, he doesn't know. Like, I can, say, okay, she attacked me. Like, I don't know what's going through Colette's... Like, Alejandro doesn't know what's going through Colette's...
But that's what I mean, though. Alejandro as a character reads those situations incorrectly. He thinks, like, he's like a one-track mind. He just thinks, oh, I got them. But he doesn't think any outside of that. That's what I'm seeing with these particular situations. Is every time he pokes and invokes a reaction, if people react to him, they think that they're only reacting because of him. But there have been multiple situations where people have reacted to him, but there's other things that are going on. So are people actually reacting to what he's doing? And does he not have enough like awareness of himself and situations to like figure out that there's more to what's going on and it doesn't have anything to do with him? Because he just kind of sits back and is like, oh, I won the situation, is what is like the trend that I'm seeing happening with him. Is he in his mind is like, oh, okay, like I gotta rise out of them. I did what I wanted to do or whatever I was trying to achieve. And then like nothing else comes of it from that point on.
I think especially yesterday, he just had it with people. Too was like, everyone was giving him shit at that point, and he was like, you know what, fuck this. Which was one of the reasons why he actually left the party in the first place. Was like he was done.
That's the only thing that I would like to see from Alejandro is follow up to the shit that he's doing. Because right now he's just like pushing everybody's buttons and there's no follow up and there's no rhyme or reason, which I know can be like a slow burn thing, obviously. Mm-hmm. But there's like eventually these people that are around him, if Colette wanted him killed, all she would have to do is go to Lindsay and be like, this guy needs to go. He's not a good fit. Sorry. And he would be dead. End of story. Like legit. I'm like being legit. So like that's one thing to like keep in mind with like if you're going to push these characters and if you're going to push and poke and prod and do all of these things, they have to at least in character, because like out of character, I get it. Like I understand the whole dynamic and just even Alejandro as a character, but in character, if I'm like reacting as Colette in this situation to where, for one thing, Colette takes her job very seriously. You know, Colette is an outsider just like Alejandro. She has been given permission to be in this city, and she knows that if she fucks up, that permission and right to be there can be taken away in a flash. She's been around in this city long enough to know that. She understands the people that she serves. So yes, she's a bruja and she's got her own little chip on her shoulder because she's a bruja, but she also understands the severity of stepping out of line. Now, I do understand that maybe Alejandro isn't necessarily in the same place. That's totally fine. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he has like be in the same place as her, but the reality of the situation is eventually these people need to start to understand in character why he is acting the way that he's acting, because that type of behavior is only going to be kind of looked over so many times before, in a way, like I feel like I kind of would be forced to kill your character.
Or like, you know, make him not welcome in the domain,
right, like you're not welcome here.
Yeah,
like you have to get out of here, because like I mentioned before, like if you know and understand how domains work, which is why when you and Sparta had that whole conversation standing outside of the car, I was just kind of like, this is like really dangerous territory. Like the thing about Alejandro is it's not just like poking fun. He like actually is venturing into really dangerous territory, because domains are no joke. Like if you don't have rights in a domain, you don't have rights in a domain. One of the Camarilla laws says that you respect thine domain, and you respect thy leaders of thy domain. And everybody knows that when you step outside of Camarilla law, bad things happen. So whenever Ronaldo brought up that point of basically saying like, you have no authority here, that was like a warning to Alejandro. You are stepping out of line and you have no rights here. You've been given permission. He wasn't necessarily doing it to spit in Alejandro's face, which is how like Alejandro kind of took it, which is fine. I would have probably taken that way too. We're like, bitch, fuck you. But it was a warning, and that's what it was meant to be. Is, hey, I like you, so I'm gonna just throw this out there that maybe you need to kind of reel it in. You know what I mean?
Yourself. Yeah.
So I would just keep in mind that there are severe consequences when it comes to stepping out of line. Now, if you want to poke fun and if you want to like antagonize and try to like draw things out of character, that's a different thing. But when you're like directly stepping out of Camarilla law, then it's like a point to where eventually I would start to intervene with consequences. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't necessarily gotten to that point, but that would be like my only word of advice is to I don't say change Alejandro. I think Alejandro should stay the way Alejandro is because it's his character. But make sure that the things that you're poking at are at least within like things that aren't going to get him killed. Because like the whole domain thing, that if Ronaldo wanted to follow up with that, all he would have to do is talk to Amani and be like, yeah, like this guy is not welcome in this domain anymore. And then now you have nowhere to go because you've been given permission to stay with Ronaldo in this particular domain. So it's like, what does that mean for your character and what other type of consequences? Because you can't just freelance in this city. That's not how things work. You know what I mean? Like,
imagine Craigslist for vampires.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can just be like, it's fine, I'll go stay at a hotel, because every spot in this entire city is controlled by somebody. If it's not controlled by Imani, it's controlled by Catalina. If it's not controlled by her, it's Kree's territory. If it's not them, it's the Galeos. So now what are you going to go to the Galeos, Kree, or Catalina and be like, hey, can I live here for a little while? You know, like, I need a place to stay. You know, so there are severe consequences for certain things. So that's just what I would keep in mind. Is no, like she said, like Jess said, in other words, don't push the wrong buttons. Right. There are certain wrong buttons that you could push that it wouldn't make sense for me to ignore after a certain point. You know what I mean? And I obviously am being patient as like the storyteller because I know like what you're trying to achieve and like I get it, but like eventually it's not going to make sense for me to kind of sit back and like continue to let certain things happen because it wouldn't make sense. The amount of disrespect wouldn't make sense after a certain point. You know, and not just disrespect, but like specific things that he's saying and doing that go against certain laws and traditions that the Camarilla uphold, because that's something that they take very seriously. So that would be, and another reason why I am it would make sense to like, especially at the start, be like more patient and let things slide is like they know that, like people like Colette and Ronaldo, they know that you're new to the city. You know what I mean? So they're like showing you a little bit of grace in these situations that, you know, but eventually their grace is going to run out and they're going to be like, okay, I am much more powerful than you. And it's literally one phone call that I have to make. Like, but they're not going to necessarily say that to you and rub that in your face. They're going to let you make mistakes and try to figure it out and give you a chance to, you know, figure it out.
But they can only put up with so much.
Right. I mean, yeah. If I was 300 years old, I would probably not put up with a whole lot. But yeah, Ronaldo's a pretty patient guy. He's just a little love bug. As you can see, he doesn't like fighting with anybody. Even like any confrontation, he's just like, no, guys, we don't need to do this. Abort. So that would be my advice for Alejandro, and whatever it is you're doing with Alejandro is to keep that in mind, because
I'm gonna go pee again. I'm sorry, guys. I
Okay.
just drank that 20-ounce coffee and it's going straight through me.
it would have gone straight through me too. Because eventually
you know?
it
That's what
won't
happens.
make sense for me to just be like, okay, that's okay that happened, and kind of ignore it. And I don't want to necessarily kill or banish your character if I don't have to. I don't think that would be a fun experience for anyone. Because then, like, all of the RP that you've done thus far is kind of like, well, shit. Now I need a new character. Or I need to try to figure out how to fix it. Which, I don't know of how that would work. But anyway, that's my 2 cents, and you can do with it what you will. Like I said, I don't think Alejandro needs to change. I just think that certain things you should tread more lightly, because there are severe consequences for some of the things that he has said and done already. And we'll see what kind of consequences might come from what he did last episode. To be determined. But that's the fun of it, right? It brings drama. Brings excitement. So, anywho. I don't even remember what got us. Oh, we were talking about favorite moments. That's what we were talking about. So your favorite moment was Alejandro being Alejandro. What about you, Sparta?
I had 2. When we met Ashley and she was all bubbly, and then she looked back at me and scoffed, and I like adjusted my shirt. I was like, oh shit, I don't fit in here at all. The Galeo sisters was definitely my favorite for sure. And then obviously my second one would have to be the Mack truck. When she just slammed it, like she just came slamming into him, sent him flying, and then she started zipping around all over like a little crackhead, just searching everything.
Running around, looking at everything. Yeah, she was really, really laying into that ability that night for all sorts of things. She used that quite a bit, actually. 3 or 4 times, I think.
Yeah. Once in the woods.
And then twice. Yeah, then... Or, well, I don't know. I guess it was all one scene.
Yeah.
So she didn't.
So twice.
She didn't reactivate it. She just used what was left of it, so to speak, to run around frantically. Which would come in handy if you needed to do like mundane things like cleaning. I would definitely activate fleetness. Be like, I'm gonna clean my house real quick. Which, I mean, I would probably have like a maid or something. But I would have somebody else clean my house. I think if I was gonna live forever, I would not do things like cleaning. I would definitely have somebody that did that for me. Could you imagine cleaning? Oh, I don't want to clean right now. But having to clean for the like 500 years of your life.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, I would definitely stop doing like mundane things like cleaning, laundry. Ugh. Although I do feel like you could get it done faster, but why would I waste my energy on that? There's so many better things I could be doing.
Yep,
just have an episode of everybody doing like really mundane, just like human tasks. Alejandro's like washing the dishes, Sparta's doing the laundry, Eden's vacuuming, just like really mundane, stupid things. Like here's these like super
episode
powerful creatures just like cleaning,
doing chores.
Yeah. Doing yard work. Yeah, Alejandro's out doing yard work. Like, what? No. That would be funny. I feel like we should throw those in there just to be stupid every now and then. Be like, we were talking about like Kindred doing like really mundane things like cleaning. And I said that if I had to clean, like I would activate fleetness so that I could get it done faster. And then I was like, actually, no, I would just have somebody clean for me. Like, I wouldn't clean. But I was saying how
Also
funny it would be to just like have the start of episode, like everybody's kind of like doing like chores. Like, okay, Alejandro, what are you doing? He's outside picking weeds. Like, what? Like, you know, maintaining the house. Got to make sure the yard looks good. Just like doing really stupid things. Ronaldo's out like hanging his laundry on a line because he doesn't use a washer and dryer. Like he's using like those old school like washboard.
No, fuck that. Fuck that.
I could totally
I would
see
probably like just do like all or enchantment or something and be like
clean
take
my
care of it,
house.
thank you.
I could see Ronaldo sitting in the backyard using a washboard. I feel like he's chill enough to do something like that. Why not? I'm gonna do that. He's gonna be in the backyard one
300
time.
years throwback, I guess.
Back
With
in my
Ronaldo's
day.
personality, I can see him doing it.
Washing his like
Robes. His
like,
robes are
uses-
just soaked because they're so like big and baggy. They're all like falling into this bucket of water. It's funny. I love his robes and his clothes. He's ridiculous. He just has like a bunch of roby clothes on and scarves. I have a very like, I'm so interested to see like what you like. I wish I could draw so that I could like draw what these characters look like in my head, because I'm so curious. Like, even though like you guys have descriptions, like I'm sure you still probably create a very different image than like what I have. And I'm like, I wish I could put that on paper.
I wouldn't be surprised if like all three of us, like four of us and everybody else that has been following has like a completely different like visual of like the characters too, you know, like because even like, you know, even Imani or whatever, like, you know, like I have an idea of how she looks in my mind, but
What does she look like in your mind? I'm curious.
I don't know, like she's like darker skinned, right? Yeah, so like I don't know. Did you see what was it? Where was that character? Fucking bet. Let me look her. I'm blanking on her name.
Eventually, maybe we'll have someone come along that's a good illustrator that can draw all of these people for us.
That
How
would
awesome
be
would
so
that
fucking
be?
cool.
Right? Yeah, Imani hasn't been too involved, so I don't really
Angela,
have a
like a younger version of Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. Angela.
And I literally just said that with my mic muted from American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's like actually pretty accurate. That's like what I envision as her. I didn't envision this particular person.
Like, she was like, she kind of portrayed like a witch, voodoo priestess type of thing in one of the American seasons. And so like whenever you were describing her, I immediately saw her in that character, but like a younger version, because she's like, well, first of all, she's 62, okay? Like, how?
I want to look like this when I'm 62.
Amazing at 62.
Holy crap. She's beautiful.
She's 62, you guys. She's gorgeous still. Like, she looks 40. Not even. Like, early 40s. She looks 20 years younger than what she is. But, like, you know, a 30-year-old Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
Like...
No, this is... It's...
Yeah.
Really accurate. Like, you actually... pictured her pretty spot on. The only thing that would be different is her hair. She has not dreads, but like braids. But yeah, everything else, like the whole vibe.
This is like kind of like the vibe that I
really like her.
Imagining.
Her pretty natural.
This is like
hair,
her actually doing the like some voodoo shit.
Voodoo shit.
This is the image that I posted in the Discord for you guys and
Let's
chat.
see real quick. Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's Imani.
Yeah, so this is what I was imagining. Yeah, no, I
Look
posted
at
it in
that.
chat.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone else
That
can see
definitely
too.
is a good image for it.
That is
Like,
like
this
perfect.
is what I imagined. This is exactly what I imagined when you were describing her. I was like,
Yep.
this scene, because like she was a voodoo like witch.
Well, there
in
you
that
go.
season.
I didn't even know
So,
that. You said American Horror
yeah.
Story. I'm terrified of that show.
Yeah.
So
What?
I can't do scary stuff like that. It gives me nightmares, like legit. Hello, hardcore. How you doing? My ex loved that show, and she used to like make me watch it with her, and I would have nightmares every time. And then eventually I just told her, like, I don't care if you get mad at me that I'm not watching it with you. You can watch it alone. Because I legit get terrified of it. I just can't. It's so weird because I love that stuff. Like, I love all of the, like, magic, spooky, creepy, vampire, this, that, whatever. But some of it is just, my brain is, like, too impressionable. And then I have bad nightmares. Like, when I first got into Vampire Masquerade, whenever Faniche first started talking to me about it, literally, like, the first few nights I had, like, terrible nightmares of vampires. Like, I'm not kidding. But usually I still do have, like, vampire nightmares, but usually I, like, am the vampire, or, like, I'm one of the vampires, so it's not as scary. Like, there's not vampires trying to kill me or anything scary like that. I'm doing good. How is school going for ya? Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Okay, I'm happy that you envisioned her like I did, cuz this is like exactly like the vibe, even like her clothing, cuz they all kind of wear like they're not all roby like Ronaldo, but they all just, their clothes are different style.
Like, also this.
It's not only Ronaldo that kind of has that. He's more of like monk dude because that's kind of his background.
When I picture
What
Ronaldo,
sort of monk?
I picture like a grown-up Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay. Accurate.
Ronaldo?
Yep.
Ronaldo is white, right?
No, he's Asian.
He's Asian.
Oh, he's Asian.
Yeah.
I think I missed that. Oh, right. I remember the comment, and it's because of the fucking name. Ronaldo. I definitely don't envision like an Asian like person, if that makes sense. I don't know. I had like, I forgot that, but I remember that actually Memsy was like, "Oh, interesting." Like you commented about it. Don't remember what you said exactly, but
I thought it was a football player, to be honest. Like that's what I combined with Ronaldo, because he got two Ronaldos. He got Brazilian fat Ronaldo, and then you got Portuguese six-pack Ronaldo, or eight-pack. I don't know what the fuck he's got right now, but that was what I was thinking to myself. Like, is this dude from Brazil? Is this dude from like Portugal or something like that?
No, he's Asian. And it's funny that you bring up like his name and how it doesn't make you think of Asian name. Because there are reasons for that. I'm trying to find this picture. Hold on.
and he's like what, like 30, 40? I mean, he's Asian, so it doesn't really matter. Like, they just look good.
They really do. They look
it doesn't
young.
really matter. 100% doesn't matter, but
I actually don't. No, he is an older guy. Hold on.
yeah, I think like you had said that like he looks like,
He's
not old, like not in his 70s, but like maybe like 45 to 50 years old, something like that.
Yeah. Let me look at my cheat sheet for Ronaldo. I can't remember. He was embraced later in life. So he does look sort of, he doesn't look like an old or crippled man, but he does look older. He's not as young and fresh as everybody else. Let's see. He was turned at the age of 52.
No,
So.
52, there you go. So he probably looks like a hot 40-year-old daddy.
Daddy? Did you just say daddy? I
Daddy
cannot
Ronaldo.
associate daddy with Ronaldo. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Sounds like me, old and dying. Aren't we all?
What's up, EP?
Don't ask about school. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought up your trauma. I feel like
looking at like over 40 Asian actors.
I'm trying to find a picture. Hold on. There is a clear picture in my mind of a anime character, but I don't watch anime. And
Who did you say, Sparta? That it reminded
Here,
you
I'll
of?
pull up a picture.
Because I saw Avatar, but I think I came in like, or at least like I was distracted and I wasn't paying attention.
I said I was picturing him as like an older Aang.
Okay, I found an accurate picture of him. I don't know who this character is, but this works. Hold on. Save this picture. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Well, yeah, that's
There, I
Aang.
posted
Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's Aang.
like an older version of him.
Yeah, like him, but an old man. If I could get my computer to cooperate. Here we go. Here we go. Here, I'll post it in here for you guys.
Like especially with the robes.
So this is how I envision him in my mind.
No, okay.
Ah, okay.
Robes and all. His clothes are a little more roby. Because he has like several things going on. But that like older face, you know, older man. So that, because a lot of Asians are like that. Asians typically age pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
And
They do.
men
Amazing
who are
humans.
like in their 50s and 60s look like they're in their 40s. So he probably looks like he's in his 40s in appearance. He's probably not quite as muscular, because I feel like this guy would be a little more muscular. He's a little more dainty than that guy. Just a question, do kindred stay looking the same as when they were embraced for the rest of their life? Yes, they do.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
literally.
don't worry,
like,
you phrased it
can't-
right.
If you cut the hair, it's gonna regrow again to where it was. If you tattoo a vampire,
Doesn't
the
stay.
ink is gonna be rejected and be pushed out. You can't modify a vampire unless, I don't know, in this, I think they did put like a compendium for Simisi, which is the only clan that can modify bones and like your flesh. It's
I
like
didn't know
a
that.
modified protein, yeah. Protein and like another it's vicissitude. That's their clan thing, and they can literally like do vampire plastic surgery, and they're the only ones that can actually modify your appearance per se. Otherwise, you can't.
Yeah, you're stuck with however you look like.
Yeah. And Simisi can work only with whatever you have. So they can't like make you taller or like, you know, smaller. Like it will just maybe change your features or things. So it's not like a completely radical thing either.
Right. So yeah, whatever age you were embraced at, you basically are stuck at that age and with those features and things. So the younger you get turned, the better, so to speak, because you look young for the rest of your existence.
Yeah.
which many of these characters that you guys have met, most of them have been turned in like their 20s and stuff. So they all kind of young adults, you know. There are a couple other exceptions, like Ronaldo is an older dude. But for the most part, everyone is pretty young looking. So it makes things interesting because you have someone who's like Catalina, who's 546 years old, and she looks like she's like 23. So it gets a little confusing. You're like, wait.
Wait a second.
This is weird. Forever young. Yep. Forever young. It is one of the benefits.
Forever young.
Oh, we haven't. That's right. You guys haven't met Kree at all. Kree hasn't even been mentioned.
Met Kree yet. Nobody fucking mentions it. I can't say anything.
It's so funny because
I'm not gonna fucking meta this
yeah,
shit.
it was so funny when you were in the car with Ronaldo, like talking about premonition and all of that stuff, like hinting at that. You're like, is there anyone that can, I don't know, like do this, like see things, like, you know, like you're, and I'm just like sitting there like as Ronaldo, like
Yeah,
like,
no, I hate you, Jenna. I hate you so
I was
fucking
like,
much.
I know what the fuck you're doing.
And I was like, you know what? Like, you know, whenever she sets up, like, you'll see, like, I'm bringing, like, elements from my own life, right? So, like, I'm gonna, like, have her have, like, her little crystal collection, and she does her, like, little yoga in the morning, you know, she had, like, her routine, she does a little bit of meditation, so, like,
meditation.
so, like, obviously, yeah, no, that was definitely one of my favorite moments, because I was like, okay, I want to do this. I know I can do it, but it needs to make sense. Again, I don't want to meta, you know, like knowing what I know. And I'm like, well, nobody's talking about Kree, so.
I've thought about it, but as a character still new to the city,
Yeah, no, it
the
doesn't
only
make sense.
experience
Nope.
I have is with Ronaldo.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yep, and as you can see, it's now again been made pretty clear that Kree and his people don't really get involved in things, because when that would have been an opportunity for Ronaldo to kind of speak up and be like, oh yeah, actually, you know, there are these people, you know what I mean? Like there's a clan here and they can do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the perfect opportunity for Ronaldo to kind of speak up in that moment and introduce the idea of Kree helping. But it, again, now has been made very clear that that's not on their radar, because that doesn't really happen. Like Kree isn't involved in the city in that kind of way.
Yeah.
So it was funny. I
We
knew
have to find a different way to go.
you were like kind of digging, like,
I was
come
like,
on,
fishing.
come on,
Like,
Jenna.
Come on, just like introduce him, please. Just like make me happy. Make me happy.
Yeah, I actually don't know when Kree will pop up.
Well, now that like she found out that she can meditate, you know, like
Meditate.
I love it. I love it. I love how like nobody also like corrected her apart from like the premonition one. But
Yeah,
nobody really
eventually.
corrected her on anything. She's still like calling everything the wrong name and stuff.
Ultra Vision.
Ultra Vision.
Apparently I have Ultra Vision. Everybody's just like,
We were like, oh yeah,
okay.
sure. Super speed, and they're like,
Yep.
yes, you go, girl.
Nailed it.
That's amazing. Good for you.
And even Ronaldo, did you meditate?
I think honestly, like, you know, maybe, you know, at least Eden like brings some of the comedic relief as well, because like Again, nobody told her. Like, it's like, nobody told her that it's called thaumaturgy. Like,
Nobody's telling her
literally, it's
anything.
like magical kindred stuff. Kindred magic. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, fine. Kindred magic, sure. But she doesn't even know that there is a name for kindred magic. That is thaumaturgy. Nobody's telling her that.
Everybody's like, "Oh, that's cute. We'll just go with that."
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
just go with
We'll
that.
call
And
it
I'm
that.
Like, God damn it, guys! Like, who the f do I need to talk to learn some shit? Some actual.
It's like, I want to get
information and
fucking
not, like-
educated.
Yeah, like I want to learn. I'm eager to learn. Okay, like I'm a good student, and I'm interested. Okay.
It's funny.
No, nobody wants
Nope.
to teach her.
You're gonna call it voodoo shit from now on.
Well, I guess like, you know, she at least knows that it's like magic now, like actual
True.
magic.
True.
And so like, but she still calls the test blood test,
Yeah.
you know, because nobody told her what the fuck. Nobody said that it was a ritual or whatever. Like, she's like, yeah, probably they can test the blood by drinking it. That's still a blood test. In her mind, it makes sense.
She's
And
like,
it's funny
yeah,
because
blood
Sparta
test.
doesn't have any idea about any of that shit either. So whenever you make up those
Exactly.
words, he's just like, "Yeah, I mean that
Yep,
sounds like a good."
100% makes sense.
And Ronaldo is just not the type to like. He just is like. He's very much like that kind of character
well, also,
that
Tremere wouldn't really want to like reveal anything
They're
about their own
secretive.
practices
Right.
because they're so secretive as a clan
that's
about their own shit.
right. Which is so funny because I wish that you guys had sort of picked up on that in character, but that was possibly one of the reasons why they acted the way that they acted when they found out that somebody possibly saw them doing a ritual in the backyard. Like, that's a big deal.
The thing
Like,
is that like I figured that was like, you know, one of the possible reasons, but
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
you
metaplay.
can't. You can't say that in character. But yeah, but they are like with their practices and with like their certain things and like they're very like secretive and they don't really expose
No, they don't
it
share
to other
They
people.
don't share. That's their power.
Right.
Their power is that other clans don't know what the fuck really thaumaturgy is.
Right. And that's also why, which I'm probably you guys didn't necessarily pick up on, but the previous episode when Imani did that ritual with Eden, she mentioned like this isn't really how we usually do this. Like it's usually just like me and Catalina and like, you know, because that's how they practice. It's secretive. They don't display their powers like other clans do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of their powers actually manifest really quietly and then it's like bam, you know what I mean? Like one of Ronaldo's power, well, any Tremere that develops this really is like he can basically turn his blood into a poison and spit it on you.
I knew it. I was like, Ronaldo,
Yeah.
Don't let
can
me
you just
get
fucking
shot.
do that, please?
So like he can just
It's
be
corrosive.
standing there
Yeah.
like looking like a normal person and really he's like manifesting this poison that can actually be fatal to even vampires.
Yeah.
So it's
I think it also does aggro damage, right? It's one of the things that can do aggravated damage.
Yeah, it
The
can,
poison, yeah.
yeah. And it is like a poison that stuns you and you like can't move. So it's like that, but that's how like Tremere are. They're really mysterious. They're really secretive in the way that they do things. Like they aren't like in your face. You know what I mean? Even in like a battle situation, they wouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? Like they're a lot more calculated and quiet, and some of their, actually quite a few of their powers take a little while to manifest before they can actually use them. Like the whole blood thing, like he has to like sit and concentrate before he can actually like utilize that. But to you wouldn't necessarily know what he was doing. He just is sitting there. You know what I mean? But you don't realize he's bubbling up freaking poisonous blood inside of him that he can spit on you and kill you with, possibly. So, yeah, Tremere are fucking no joke. They're crazy. The things that they can do. So, they're very secretive in how they do things, especially when it comes to their rituals.
That's why that first episode, I was surprised when I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go fiddle with the crystals and stuff," and nobody said anything. I was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, they were kind of like watching you, but you didn't touch anything that you probably shouldn't have. So the 3 Tremere that were there that are kind of, you guys are gonna notice that there's always 3 Tremere with Imani. At all times. There's always 3 of them. That eventually maybe Y will come out in story, but the 3 that were there were kind of huddled. They were watching as you fiddled around with everything, but you know, you weren't disturbing things enough for them to be like, fucking stop touching that. Get out of here. Get your filthy hands off of that.
Right.
Maybe if you started doing that like in the middle of the ritual, they probably would have been like, oh, wait, okay, you're disturbing things, stop it. But yeah, they're interesting for sure. I like the Tremere, they're cool. I had to kind of really grasp them as a clan when I was making these characters, because I was like, I need to understand how this works and how to like utilize this stuff in combat and in situations, because yikes, how would Ronaldo react is like a big thing, because I think also I don't think that it would make sense for like Tremere to be like front runners for like combat, you know what I mean? Like a lot of their powers, like obviously they can hold their own, like they have abilities and you know, they can develop other things. Yeah, of course. But, like, their abilities are way more useful for other things than, like, fighting. You know?
Yeah.
So, they get utilized in other ways.
If you think about it, in all RPGs, like, mages, wizards, whatever, like, they're always, like, in the back.
Yeah.
Because they're not great at
squishy.
fighting. They're, like,
yeah,
support. Or like they're like, you know, they take more time. Even
right.
in D&D,
right.
like they need to like fucking focus
cast.
and then like cast.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole process. It makes sense. Like they would be way too OP if like it was just like, yeah, they can conjure the thing and like and like fucking, you know,
if
somebody.
If
like,
they had tank
you know,
abilities and their mage abilities, would not be a good combo, because they would be unstoppable.
No. Yeah,
basically at that point. But
pretty much.
Yeah, he is definitely a describing him more so as like a mage that is a lot squishier, probably has a lower health point if you were to like think about it as like a game. He can't take as much damage. Like those bullets would have killed him. No, he would have been dead. Even as old as he is and probably gaining other abilities and things, like those 3 bullets in his chest like they were in Sparta's, that he would have not been able to absorb all of that damage like you did, because that's just not the kind of character he is, you know? Yeah, he's a vampire and he's strong, but your strength can only go so far against certain things. Like that's why I like how they've created this world. Like vampires are not untouchable in this world. You can die. Like that is a very real possibility. You know what I mean? And there's
they wouldn't have created like a whole like underground society with very strict rules and like, you know, all this stuff if that wasn't the truth.
Right. If you couldn't die.
Yeah.
Or if it was really hard to kill you. Like it's actually it's not that hard to kill a vampire if you really want to kill a vampire. Like it's really not, if you know what you're doing, especially if you also are a kindred. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like Catalina could probably decapitate you in seconds and your life is over. You're done. Like, you probably wouldn't even have a chance to resist her in any fashion because you just wouldn't be able to react. Hello, Hauser.
What's up?
Thank you for the follow.
Hey, Hauser.
But that's like the cool thing about these characters is like everybody understands like it, which I've mentioned this before, is I love like that. How did I word it? Like they value their life, you know? Oh, thank you for the biddies. Appreciate it.
Aw.
And they value like living, you know. They understand their power, they understand their strengths and abilities and whatnot. They don't necessarily cower in certain situations, but they also understand that they could die.
And very easily.
Oh, sweet, more biddies. What is Zagazig? I like your name. Sounds fun. Zagazig.
Those two are from a Stream Raiders. He's a Stream Raiders streamer that I watch a lot.
Sweet. Well, welcome. You're catching us towards the tail end. We're just talking about the lovely world we've created together with Vampire the Masquerade and discussing points and things. We got on a little bit of a bunny trail of Tremere, but I like Tremere. They're cool.
Yeah. I think next character I do will definitely be a Tremere.
Yeah, I think once you start getting more comfortable and learning more about the world as a whole and different clans and things, I think Tremere is, I think it would be a hard character to play, but once you kind of understand everything, you're fine.
Yeah, I feel like honestly the thing that you need to like
Why is my bot broken?
do if you want to really like, you know, go for that is like just read what they're about and like really get acquainted with like how thaumaturgy works and like how the ritual works, because I think like you still need to pick and choose certain like specialized things, you know.
Yeah.
Like so I need to check it out because I'm curious, because in the other book, like I was looking, it's like different magic path. There's like
I don't
Morpheus one, there's like the blood one, there's like the undead one, there's like a bunch of different types of blood magic. And like you could pick one main one and then like a second one if you wanted to.
I don't think, unless I just completely missed it, I don't think that's in there. Basically what they talk about is they go through like your disciplines like every other clan, and then one of the main disciplines would obviously be blood sorcery. And that's where like a lot of like the magical things come from. And then it talks about rituals and wards. And
yeah, the words were part of the rituals in the other one, in the old one.
And that's all they have really in regards to all of that. There's like a whole section for like blood sorcery and like how it all works. So it was difficult for me to like figure out, okay, like how does this work? Do they always do rituals? Like it was a little confusing to like figure out how exactly they use their powers. So yeah. I read through it a few times and then kind of made it what I thought was accurate. I was like, hopefully this is like how I'm supposed to be doing this, I guess.
That's the great thing. It's more of a guideline than a rule.
True, exactly. Which is good for me because I like to do things correctly. And if I know like, okay, like here is how it could be done, but it doesn't have to be done this way. You know what I mean? Like there are certain things, they give you a lot of leeway in this particular type of RP to kind of make it your own, so to speak, which is what I ended up doing with Imani and her little blood test ritual. Is there anything else we want to chat about as we're wrapping things up here?
Not that I can think of. We kind of hit on everything.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either that is coming to mind.
I guess the only thing that I do have a question about is the damage that I took was aggravated, so I'm gonna wake up pretty fucked up.
Yeah, you're still gonna be hurt the next day. It'll take you.
I think you heal. Well, I mean, you can choose to heal 1 point if you manage to. I think it's like what, a rouse check
Yeah.
to heal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the session.
At the beginning of the session, and only 1 point per session.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna be kind of fucked up still.
Yeah, so you'll still be hurt. So how we'll start out is you'll roll and see if you heal up through the night. But it can only affect you once.
Yeah.
And you usually become hungrier as a result.
And we all know how my rolls go for that.
Yeah. I'm going to be starting out the night with a snack. I think it's actually, I'll have to look. Is it willpower? Is it a willpower roll to heal? I can't remember. I'll figure it out before we have to do it. Something like that. All of the whole damage and healing, and it's kind of annoying because I went and looked and it really isn't super clear on like how much damage you should take in certain situations and stuff. I did look into like, okay, depending on what weapon and whatever. So basically what would have needed to happen if the fight continued is we would have had to do more rolls, and then like depending on what my roll was versus what your roll was would have helped determine some of the damage and any more hits.
I actually wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask you if it was like a storyteller choice to like just have the 3 like bullets hit, or like if you know what was that.
Yeah.
Because like I have made choices like that where it's like I'm not even gonna make anybody roll. This needs to happen. This is going to happen like this, and that's it. But you know, like especially in like a continuous like fight, like I always made, you know, like who's going first roll. Like, and you know, like if somebody's shooting, like I'm gonna roll for my NPC to shoot and see if it actually
they hit. Right.
Hit or not. And
yeah. So. For the purposes of what I was trying to achieve with the story, I had just made the decision that he was going to get shot because that is how you guys were going to kind of discover these fire bullet things. In the future, most likely I'll be rolling to see if, you know, you actually get hit by those shots kind of thing. But for the purpose of this particular situation, it was just like, okay, he got shot. Because
my ass was getting shot.
Right. Because if you hadn't have gotten shot, and like I said, that's why I was like, you're not going to die. Like, because I didn't necessarily want your character to die. The whole point of your character getting shot when you decided to jump was to discover this weapon, which then led to you guys discovering more information. So like, I knew it was going to happen, but it wasn't supposed to kill you. That's why I was like, don't worry, you're not going to necessarily die. And that's why I needed to figure out like what damage this thing was causing. But yeah, so that particular situation, but there'll be other situations where I'll be rolling for the NPCs, like you said, to see like if you're getting shot, or even if it's like a melee, like do they actually make contact with you kind of thing, which then also you do have the chance to try and dodge certain situations and things like that. So but this particular scene wasn't really intended to be set up that way. So, and the combat ended pretty quickly. So if the guy would have continued shooting, then I probably would have started rolling, because I didn't want to just everybody to be getting shot left and right by these things. But I was like, well, this works out perfectly. Now I can shoot him. Because I wanted it to lead to where it led, which I'm glad it did. Which it could have still led there in other ways, of course, but it got there a very dramatic way. Took the dramatic route, so that's fine.
It was definitely shocking.
Yeah. Just ask Ronaldo, he'll tell you. Fire bullets. I love how he was just completely useless the whole time.
I'm definitely not bringing him into a dangerous situation like that again. That's for damn sure.
What were you going to say, Mimsy?
It blanked out.
And it's gone.
Now that I know we have a Mack truck, I'll either grab her, Colette, or Alejandro.
Don't worry about it. In no time, I'm gonna also like be a knife handler. Bitch is gonna get gnarly. I am so excited to train her in blades. Like, yes.
That's all we need is a Mack truck with pokey things.
Yep. Yeah. With fleetness, and then I have another ability that is gonna be really fun. Which is like the next step from fleetness, which is blink. I can like literally dash so fast that I get 2 actions. So I can dash like a 50-meter distance without being absolutely perceived, and then still have a free action of like attack or whatever. Yeah.
So basically she can appear right in front of you and then stab you in the face.
Or like just
cut your head off.
Decapitate
before you can even register the fact that she's there. Fun. Yeah, you remember how I said Catalina could decapitate you in seconds? I meant it.
Yeah. And I'm not even Catalina. So imagine what she can do, because like celerity at like high levels too, like good luck stopping anybody
getting away from that.
Good luck. You can't see them. You can't see them unless you have celerity 5 and you can like catch up with their movements.
Yeah, that particular, I mean, I feel like everything is OP in its own sense, but yeah, they're speedy.
Yeah.
And
in combat, especially for like close range combat, celerity is amazing. It's already just fleetness level 2 already is great, because like if you dash immediately, like the person can't really react, especially if you're like bashing into somebody. Good luck.
Yeah. I mean, you guys saw a good example of how even like that whoever was running away, like they clearly had activated fleetness as well immediately, and even with her like responding, she still couldn't catch up. Because you're gone, you know, like in a matter of seconds. Like you move at a speed that literally it says like it's dizzying, because you're moving so fast, like your eyes can't even focus on that person. Yeah. And then blink adds like a whole different level of it, because you literally like, it's like you teleport, just ding, and you're there.
It's that's why it's probably called blink, because you blink and it's happened already.
Yeah, like in World of Warcraft, there's mages can blink, and you're just running and blink, and you just teleport forward. So yeah, it's pretty legit. Yeah, Eden is just a little bit OP for everybody, but that's fine. You guys are powerful too in your own ways.
Fine. We're going against a fucking Generation 7 plus the Inquisition. Kind of need it. I'm not gonna lie, we kind of need it.
Yeah, you're right. You make a good point, for sure.
Like,
And it doesn't seem like your vampire daddy is very nice, gentleman.
no.
Not getting that
No.
vibe.
No, I'm really not getting that vibe, honestly. Like, no. I don't have a good feeling about it.
No.
Like, he seems like a creep, and also, like, yeah, just unpredictable enough to be involved with, like, possibly either the Inquisition or a branch of the FBI that also is, like, fucking, like, fanatic level of, like, stuff, happening. So we don't know that information for sure yet, but
Soon,
yeah.
TM. Isaiah Yernif is a very interesting name.
Yeah, I wonder where he's from.
I don't know.
Because you said, like, European, and I was like, what? Eastern European, Northern European, like, Spanish, French, Portuguese. Like, Europe has so many different accents, but, I mean, it was still a premonition, so it's not, like, 100% clear. But at
By
least we know
name,
that
I would
he's not
say Eastern.
American. It could be Eastern, or even, like, honestly, like, Isaac is a very, like, Jewish, Turkish, whatever, like, Mediterranean. It can be totally Mediterranean too.
True.
Name. You know, he is, like, dark haired and, like, green eyes. Sounds very Greek too.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
what I was thinking was Greek.
Well, we all know though that he's a
He is creating a lot of problems for you guys.
He is.
For everyone
He
involved.
is.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Anybody else have any last thoughts?
I think we did, like, talk about and discuss everything. I'm excited to see what happens this week.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
I am
Me
going
too.
to have my disguise because we talked about it last time. So it's going to be wig and contacts. Hopefully they'll be here in time.
Nice, nice.
They're scheduled to be coming before Saturday or by Saturday. It was like between the 16th and the 20th. So hopefully it's gonna happen. But I already have the wig, so I can at least put that on.
Sweet. Cool. I love it.
I can't wait. It's not going to come soon enough.
I know. I'm excited. And thankfully this week I'm feeling much more energetic, so I can spend a little bit more time thinking about this episode and focusing on it, and hopefully which, I mean, I don't think we had any problem in that department last episode.
It was great.
We had more than enough stuff to work with. So
Oh yeah, no, I was like at the edge of my seat most of the session.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you didn't necessarily spend like the whole week planning, like, we had so much happening. It was so jam-packed with everything.
It
Like,
really
I think
was.
at the beginning, like, it started a little slow because there was a good amount of RP because of the, night before and what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But once it started moving, it was like bam, 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 like one thing after the other. So, yeah.
For sure. Well, you guys can join us on Saturday at 6 p.m. PST. And that's when we will be doing our next episode of New Orleans Night Prophecies. So join us then to see what unfolds the next time. And thank you guys for hanging out. And we'll see you then.
Bye, guys. Thank you.